program, so many of them, as June Jones was telling us yesterday, leave the island and go play their 4 years of big-time football on the mainland. Chang, he hopes, started a trend by staying here and proved what you can do in this June Jones run-and-shoot system. One of the most prolific in college football ever since he became the head coach. Second nationally in total offense this year. Chang at about 350 yards per game. And the first play from scrimmage is almost intercepted. They tried to set up a screen pass for Michael Brewster, and a diving attempt for D'Amico Ryans, couldn't quite come up with it.
Chad Owens, number 2, only had 14 catches last week against Army. 168 yards, 1 touchdown. He's second in the nation in catches per game. Keep an eye on number 2.
Everybody gets into the act at some point.
He can scoot.
Chad Owens more than most. Second in the country in catches per game, 4th in yards per game. And incompletion. Chang not looking sharp at all on these first 2 snaps. That one not that close to Jeremiah Cochran, the nearest warrior. The offensive line has given up only 16 sacks this year. 1 every 37 attempts. They've had 3 games in which they did not allow a single sack. Alabama defensive front, Antoine Odom, the SEC's active leader, 20.5 career sacks. Anderson, Brian Clark, the rest of their front 4. 3-man front on 3rd and 10. 5 targets for Chang, and again, not very close. Incomplete, intended for Chad Owens. So Chang 0 for 3 had a very unimpressive first series. Quick check of the Alabama linebackers.
D'Amico Ryans needs 11 tackles. You just saw him on the near interception. 11 more tackles. He's the all-time leading tackler in the history of Alabama football.
Secondary is going to be busy. Pepper and Jones, 4 interceptions apiece. Co-leaders in that category for the time. Kurt Milne is the punter, averaging just a shade under 40. Has not had a kick blocked all year. This is a gorgeous nose-up spiral. And about as good as you can cover without drawing a flag, as Brandon Brooks is nailed after a 44-yard kick. So Brody Croyle now in the Alabama offense. They have not had much of a year. Croyle, a sophomore from Rainbow City, one of 11 second-generation players on this Tide team. His father, John, a defensive end in the Bear Bryant era, 1971 to 73. Sister Reagan, basketball player, married a former quarterback. It is truly all in the Croyle family. Shawn Williams, I don't believe, gets back to the line of scrimmage on the first play for the Alabama offense. And Shawn Williams, the SEC leading rusher, coming in with 105 yards per game, 15 touchdowns. That is tied for first nationally, 13 of them on the ground. He did lose 1, so 2nd and 11 for the transfer from Texas Tech. Final game of his career for the senior from Andrews, Texas. They try him again, and he slips as he tries to start his cut and loses a couple of more. 3rd and 13. The Alabama line will line up this way.
And they've been required to be very versatile, the most versatile being Atlas Harrion, the left tackle, has played both guards, both tackles. They've got a center play and tight end today. We'll note him later.
Travis LeBoy with 11 sacks, 11 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. That is tops in the Western Athletic Conference. Blitz on 3rd and 13. Croyle steps up, keeps, has room, and staggers close to the first down. I'm not sure whether he had it and where they're going to mark him. I believe he comes up inches short. Ran out of gas, it appeared, right at the line he needed. Although on the yellow line, they may give it to him.
George Lumpkin, the fine defensive coordinator, been here 29 years at the University of Hawaii, said, we're not going to let Croyle just sit back there. So they come after him with the blitz. nice man coverage. There's an opening, and one of the things that Brody Coyle does best is to locate those creases, and he doesn't look pretty running the ball, but he's just effective enough that he very often makes the first. This is going to be close. There's George.
Smartest man on the island. Came here 29 years ago and never left.
Never left. Still got the same sweatshirt on that they issued him the first day. It did look like he washed it a lot, though.
Under 5 different head coaches. He was a graduate assistant back in the early 70s when June Jones played quarterback here. And he was the first assistant hired when Jones took over as head coach December 1998. So by the nose, Coyle does get the first down on 3rd and 13.
We should say he's the co-coordinator with Rich Miano, who coaches the secondary.
Coyle with the swing pass. Williams near the 40. A gain of 8 yards. And the rest of the Hawaii defense lining up this way.
Number 46, Kiani Alapa, is the man, according to his defensive coordinators. He's the guy that gets the defense going.
And the Warriors secondary, led by Peters, all whack as a junior. He returned 3 picks for touchdowns last year. Also academic all whack. Wants to eventually get a master's degree in social work. Gain of 9, 2nd down and 1. 2 tight ends. And a burst by Williams into the clear. 1 man with an angle, and he's caught at the 5 by Abraham Elimimian. 56 yards.
True freshman fullback Tim Castile, number 29, gets a big assist. This is what fullbacks are supposed to do. Boom, right there you see the kick out. Beautiful job by Castile in a huge hole. Shawn Williams shows his characteristic speed down the sideline until Elimimian has the angle on him. Beautiful blocking by the Alabama offensive line and the fullback.
The only question was, would it Elimimian have the right angle? He did, to prevent the touchdown. It was his 1st and goal tied on their opening possession. Ray Hudson with his first carry, and he slips at the 4. There was enough rain a couple hours before kickoff, Bill, that it is definitely affecting the footing.
Yeah, this field turf is fine when it's wet as long as you keep the weight over the balls of your feet. But your cleats don't get purchased when you stick your feet out and you look like a cow on ice. That's what happens on turf like this. Now, Lomax, number 89, the big guy right there, you see him, not a very good drawing, is normally an offensive center. You can see he does not have that svelte physique that a lot of tight ends have.
He'll wear 69 when he's a center, but he's got 89 on right now as a tight end. And on 2nd and goal, reaching for the goal line, Williams, but no indication that he got there, and they will mark him just short.
Lomax in his position. This is what happens when you move a great athlete, Dave, like an offensive center out to tight end. See, centers are the best athletes and the best players. Watch Lomax dominate his man, Ikaika Kernan, right there. Good job by the big guy. You didn't say anything.
Heard it all. I'm immune. There's no good to argue. 3rd and goal. A foot away. Shawn Williams. Touchdown. And only fitting that Williams should end that first drive. He carried 5 times for 57 yards in the big 56-yarder to get him down there, 1st and goal at the 5. So he finishes what he started, and it's 6-0 Crimson Tide.
Alabama ran for over 300 yards here a year ago, and this salty Hawaii defense is going to have to suck it up and get them stopped. That's the 14th touchdown of the year for Shawn Williams.
Ryan Bostic for the extra point. Knocks it through, 7-0 Alabama. The Bama defense gets a quick 3 and out against the prolific Hawaii offense. The Alabama offense converts a 3rd and 13 and drives it down to score.
Over 1 million understand its strength. It can improve your energy, your shape, This is Bowflex Power Rod technology, and it can only be found on genuine Bowflex equipment, like the new Bowflex Extreme. Now you can get the results you want, the exercises you need, all at an affordable price. You've never seen this Bowflex before. Pick up the phone and call the number on your screen now to get a free video or DVD and check out the new Bowflex Extreme. You can have a high-performance body. Just look for real Bowflex Power Rod technology, proven effective at burning fat and building muscle. Now you can own the new Extreme for no money down and only $19 a month. The Bowflex Extreme is not available in stores. You know you're ready. Let Bowflex help you get there. Call now for a free video or DVD today, because your results matter.
48 microprocessors for speed, voice recognition for ease, and satellite tracking in case of theft or emergency, or if you just want a good seafood restaurant. The technologically advanced Acura RL, whether you measure it in horsepower or gigabytes.
They expected a near-capacity house. Aloha Stadium holds 50,000. We should be pretty close to it. And an awful lot wearing the red and white. Those are the happy folks right now, cheering the 7-0 Alabama lead. First time they get it. 8-play, 79-yard scoring drive. Honolulu, Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Rob Stone, and a 4-8 Alabama team, losers of 4 of their last 5. A 7-4 Hawaii team that entered the weekend tied for 3rd in the Western Athletic Conference, 5-2. But not off to an impressive start. Kyle Robinson for the kick. Opening kick, he drove out of bounds. Much better effort here. And John West decides to bring it 5 yards deep. Almost never a good decision.
If you're the Warrior defense, here's what you have to look forward to. Little swing passes. Sherrod Williams in the open field. Power blocking the 49-yard run by the speedy Williams down the sideline. And then the touchdown with yet another power play. One power display after another by Alabama. And they will dominate the day if that is allowed to continue with no turnovers. Especially if the Hawaii offense continues to struggle.
In this game last year, the Hawaii offense was on the field only 20 minutes. First completion for Chang. Out of the 21-yard line, Jeremiah Cochran, senior from Fontana, California. So really what Alabama found was the best defense against Chang and company last year was to keep them on the bench, and they kept them there for 2/3 of the game. Cochran able to pick up 7. One of the top 5 receivers in the WAC with his 45th catch of the year, and it's 2nd down and 3. Give onto the shotgun is to West. All kinds of room into the secondary, dragging Roman Harper across the 45, a gain of 26 yards for the Warrior rushing leader.
What a wonderful job by number 64, the left guard, Samson Satele. And this guy's a freshman, 6'3", 290 pounds, number 64. Here he comes, boom, right there. Nice log. Look here now, he accelerates. Watch the big man run. While he'll come back into your picture, he'll get another knockdown right there. Boom. That's great hustle by a freshman lineman, and there are a lot of young, fine offensive linemen on this Hawaii team. Samson Satele, number 64.
37 pancake blocks, the most on the team. So the Warriors on the run now and throwing deep into double coverage. Chang incomplete. Intended for Cochran. Tomorrow night, the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with their backs firmly against the wall, facing a young Jacksonville Jaguar team. The Bucs and the Jaguars, Sunday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. And available nationwide on ESPN HD. As always, it all begins with NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite at 7:30 Eastern. June Jones, a veteran of many years in the NFL. Head coach of the Falcons for 3 years. Chargers for another year. Screen underneath and into Tide territory goes Jason Rivers to the 47-yard line. True freshman from Waipahu, who had a huge game last week, who went over Army. Pass just about like that, went 59 yards. He had 5 catches for 117 yards, and a 59-yard screen went all the way for a touchdown. Former state 100-meter and 200-meter champion. One of a dozen they have recruited from the same source here in Honolulu, the St. Louis School, athletic powerhouse. Cochran trying a one-handed grab at the 40 and incomplete on 3rd down.
Now you'll see Chang go through periods like this. He's not particularly accurate. He's got a lot of adrenaline pumping. He's a very emotional player, and he's not really as sharp as he has been, but he will get hot at some point in the game. He always does. This guy's passed for over 12,000 yards in his career, and he's on pace to break Ty Detmer's record by over 2,000 yards if he continues to play as he has.
So Milne kicking from the 48. Not nearly as pretty as his first effort. Brandon Brooks with a very short return. Caught to the 18-yard line after just a 31-yard punt. First quarter from Aloha Stadium, 7-0 Crimson Tide.
If only the world were as race-inspired. The 6-speed, 200-horsepower Acura RSX Type S.
And I don't even have that insurance.
What insurance, Santa?
The one that pays you cash if you're hurt and can't work.
Huh?
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Can you just sit down the toys?
Half the carbs of Bud Light. The taste that won a gold at the World Beer Cup. Now that's something to be thankful for. Great taste, less filling. Miller Lite, good call.
Now Mentos has 70% more, and they come in a box. Go Box!
Twisted Tricks, performed by the Action Sports Greats. Winter X Games 8 from Aspen, coming in January, live for the first time on ESPN.
ESPN's College Football Saturday, brought to you by Acura. Experience the performance today at your local Acura dealer. And by Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Honolulu, Alabama on top, courtesy of a Sean Williams touchdown. Not bad for a senior running back who was taken for a wild ride on the coaching carousel through his college football career. He went through 2 head coaches at Texas Tech, where he actually began his Division I football career, transferred to Alabama, and technically really had 3 head coaches there. You know all the turmoil their program has gone through the last couple of years. So he's gone through 5 football head coaches, but make it 7 head coaches, because you forget he played baseball at Texas Tech and Alabama.
Coyle on first down has a man and overthrows Tyrone Prothro. Not quite enough air under that ball. Mike Shula, the former quarterback, would be the first to point that out. Prothro had beaten his man. Well, you know, the one thing that you have to say about Sean Williams and his collegiate experience is when he gets out in the real world, he will be very adaptable. No telling how many bosses he's going to have.
But if you're a head coach and he comes to your school, you're in trouble, man.
You're on the way out.
You're not going to stay long. Guy's a great player, I'll tell you that.
One of those guys left voluntarily. Spike Dykes,
I know.
Texas coach, retired.
So did Francione.
Ray Hudson with a burst close to a first down at the 28. Junior from Bonifay, Florida, where he was Mr. Football for that state in 1999.
It really does affect the players, though, when there's a coaching change, because there's the demeanor, there's an expectation level, and each staff is a little bit different, sometimes drastically different in the way they approach things, and you're constantly having to adjust if you're a player. But what you learn about teenage males is they are very, very adaptable.
56 of those on one Sean Williams carry on their opening series. That got him down to first and goal. He finished the job. They needed inches on third down. We'll see where they give Coyle the spot.
By and large, Alabama's got Hawaii outmanned, but the defensive tackles for Hawaii, that's an exception. Those guys are big, powerful, good football players. Sopoanga, number 97, Samaseva, number 92. Those guys are football players. Defensive tackles, over 300 pounds with quick feet, active. And you see them on those quarterback sneaks. Those are not automatic.
You are 8 for 8 on the Hawaiian names. You're off to a tremendous start.
I'm going to quit. That's it. That's the only ones I know.
Josh Smith in motion, draw play. Hudson. Nice reversal of field. Gets 6 yards out of what looked at first like maybe no gain. The strong safety Hiram Peters finally drags him down. And I think early the question, would Alabama be mentally into this game, has been answered.
Well, I'm telling you, if you get a chance to coach players who go to Alabama, football is important to them. It doesn't matter who you're playing. They're going to be ready to play. If you prepare them properly, they should always play hard. And that's what we're seeing again today.
Gain of 6, second down at 4. And again, right through the middle, it's Hudson. Pulls his way across midfield. And over Hiram Peters, another gain for Ray Hudson, 17 yards, and Alabama overpowering the smaller Hawaii Warrior defense.
Just coming off the ball, and even those big tackles are getting stoned now. Excellent lead block by yet another fullback, number 38, Josh Smith this time does a nice job. Hudson following his blockers perfectly. The reason that's popping through there is because good guys are moving their feet, and they are indeed into this game, and they're knocking people back.
Again, Smith motioning. John Williams back to work, and he'll lose a yard back to midfield. When you took over as the head coach of Alabama, was that immediately noticeable to you, the fact that you had to do almost nothing to get them to play hard just because they were at Alabama? They were going to play hard?
First day of spring practice, we made our expectations known. We went out there, and we had a really long, hard practice, and it was very physical, and nobody ever backed down. And we kind of looked at each other, and Ray Perkins, the former coach, had told me, these guys will fight and scratch every day. You don't have to worry about effort. And he was right.
Ray Perkins, Mike Shula's coach, played in for Don Shula. For the Baltimore Colts, Sean Williams, another short gain to 47. And third and long. They had to convert a 3rd and 13 on their opening possession. Not quite that long needed here.
When you think about the amalgam that Mike Shula had to work with, he really, it kind of stunned us yesterday when we were talking with him, and he said the 3 coaching staffs have come together rather well. He had the vestiges of 3 coaching staffs he had to put together, and you look at these things. Now there is Oklahoma, ranked number 1. They played them better than anybody this year. They are 1 play away in 4 different games, and this season could be totally different. That's how close this team was.
Royal going deep, one-on-one coverage. Zach Fletcher, and it's thrown over the wrong shoulder and out of bounds. Elamimian had the coverage. So when Alabama has been forced to go to the air or chosen to go to the air, that's the only time anything good has happened for the Hawaii defense. Other than that, they have just been steamrolled.
Well, that's the whole approach that George Lumpkin and Rich Miano have taken with the defense. They're going to gang up and get up there and dare them to throw the ball, try to get them in 3rd and long, and then get them stopped, hopefully for Hawaii, like this.
Bo Freeland trying to back this one up somewhere around the goal line, and he can't do it. 47-yarder. He'll net just 27. And Chang and the Hawaii offense back to work, trying to get something established. Meanwhile, visions in the minds of our crew just 3 hours away. That will be them.
There's a lot to be thankful for on Sunday NFL Countdown. The Pats are off to their best start ever thanks to Mr. Clutch, Tom Brady.
It's caught in the corner.
Baltimore's thankful for the most feared tackler in the NFL, Ray Lewis, on how to hit him hard.
I care about getting to the football every single play.
Plus, give thanks for T.O. and Ray being wired for sound. Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Old Spice, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Hi, Lonnie. How's Robert Jr.? He scored 2 touchdowns last week. How's little Matthew's team doing? Great. Looks like they'll take first. Maybe second if you're lucky. I'll see you at the playoffs, Joanne.
History will be made with the first ever 2-division state high school football championships.
Ooh, that's a cartouche.
Clean up, aisle 10.
Because you value your health, there is ChiroPlan. For your active lifestyle, there is ChiroPlan. Now you can choose from a qualified network of chiropractic doctors.
My chiropractor keeps me swinging. He's a ChiroPlan doctor.
The benefit of ChiroPlan is now available to state and county employees. Because your health is valued. ChiroPlan. Quality care. Caring chiropractors.
Welcome back to Honolulu. Interesting hand movement by Hawaii quarterback Timmy Chang. You notice when he takes the snap on the shotgun, his hands are right up here about shin level. His freshman year used to keep him down here. When he brought his hands up, it kind of triggered the defensive line. They knew, hey, 1-1000, 2-1000, I can start my surge and go after him. So now he keeps his hands right up here and keeps that cadence nice and level, not to give away any snaps, Coach Curry.
Very good observation. And Rob, I got to give Rob credit. He picked that up at practice yesterday. And it does take the advantage away from the defensive line. And you see those shots of Timmy Chang when he had that wet T-shirt on. You can see he's a muscular guy. He's been in the weight room. He's got those abs, got a six-pack going. He's not just a skinny QB.
6'2", 194. Plenty of time. Finally has to throw that one away. Jason Rivers broke off the pattern. Now, just to be standing next to Timmy Chang in his practice workout stuff yesterday did not look physically impressive at all. This is a little different picture you get here when you get the effect of a wet T-shirt contest and the downpour we had 2 hours before kick.
Yep, not normal personnel for a wet T-shirt contest, but
no,
he looks really good.
He'd be the local favorite.
He's muscular.
11 different receivers have caught touchdown passes from him. He can spray it around. He's having his difficulties here in the first quarter. John West on the carry to the 26. It'll be 3rd and 4.
Joe Kynes, the fine defensive coordinator, taking on the brilliant mind of June Jones across the field. Defensive coordinator for Alabama, I'm talking about, is playing 2 basic packages. One of them is a 4-man front with a nickel package, meaning 5 defensive backs, and then another one with 3. He calls it a 30 package, and he brings in a defensive back and an extra will linebacker, so it's essentially 6 DBs with 3 D linemen.
7 on the line here, 5-man rush, incomplete, and a late flag will come on the pressure applied by Ahmad Childress.
Now, we talked about Timmy Chang's physique, and we weren't just messing around talking about insignificant things. When Ahmad Childress hits you in the sternum, he is 330 pounds, folks. He's 6'6".
Rough the quarterback, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Now, when that guy hits you and lands in the middle of your chest, you can't just be a pencil neck. Look at here, 330 pounds right on the sternum. You better have been in the weight room. Timmy Chang's been beat up all year, but he's back out there playing. That doesn't just speak to courage. That speaks to strength. He's been doing bench presses. Thank goodness for him.
And that is the second biggest gain of this first quarter for the Hawaii offense. The first was a 26-yard run by John West. This penalty up to the 42 for a first down. Trying to set up the screen all day. They finally have one complete to Rivers. And they get about 5 yards out. Regular season finale for Alabama. For Hawaii, they have one more regular season game, and then the Sheraton Hawaii Bowl here on Christmas. Sean Williams, 59 yards on the ground, a 56-yarder, setting up their touchdown. June Jones offense, the run and shoot, yes, to get cranking. They are fourth nationally, averaging 489 total yards, second nationally, 389 passing yards per game. So far, they've only thrown it for 17 and a total of 51 yards. Michael Brewster with room, needs a downfield block from Coughlin, and he gets a nice one, and he's near the 25. 27 yards, so now their two best plays have both come on the ground.
The reason I talked about the nickel package, you got the middle linebacker out of the game. You see right there's no middle linebacker. Brewster is a darter. He's a transfer from the University of Tennessee, where he was a walk-on from Houston, Texas, and he is a jitterbug all over the field, and there's several of them that play for Hawaii, and they're going to be trouble for this Alabama defense if Hawaii is patient enough to run some running plays. They only have two. They got a trap and a draw, Dave.
97, Anthony Bryant sitting out this snap. He should be winning. He chased Michael Brewster all the way downfield. And the Warriors have it batted down. Intended for save, Pumele, Naughton, McKay, Lozier, 6'4" defensive end, gets a big piece of it.
Again, the Joe Kynes approach. He had a four-man defensive line on the previous play. This time he goes with just three. But number 90, McKay Lozier, is up in the air. Excellent athletic ability with the tip. That's not normally a problem with Chang because he has a nice high delivery. Alabama will not be in a standard defense, meaning 3 linebackers, 4 down linemen, 4 DBs, except inside their own 10 today.
Whistles before this snap comes.
And a good job so far by the Western Athletic Conference officiating crew. Here's the referee.
Mic difficulties for Rich Collins.
Yep, Rich having a little of this rain messes up a lot of electronic stuff, but Rich Collins, the referee, and as I said, it's a WAC crew, and they're doing a good job.
Well, Tuesday night, ESPN's coverage of the ACC Big Ten Challenge, presented by 989 Sports, begins with a doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern, Indiana, Wake Forest, and then at 9, Illinois, North Carolina. That one also available on ESPN HD. Call your cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network. The ACC Big Ten Challenge, presented by 989 Sports on ESPN. Shotgun draw, Brewster, and met after a short gain at the 28. Quick reacting Alabama defense led by redshirt freshman linebacker Jawan Garth.
Again, if Hawaii will just keep handing the ball off, I don't mean every play, but mix in the run periodically against this defense. Alabama's playing without a middle linebacker and without an outside strong linebacker, which means they're just not as big and physical as normal.
You might expect
the running lanes will be open more. Just look at this whole thing. There's just 3 down linemen up front.
Hawaii, a good third down team, 42% for the year. That one's going to be close. Chad Owens with the catch right at the 12 yards that he needed. And it is a first down. Owens, who had 14 catches, a Hawaii single-game record last week against Army.
Chang's starting to get his rhythm now. Watch those feet. Nice job of foot movement. The feet are square. He's leading his receiver away from the defender. That time you were able to see the feet like a ballet dancer. The feet must be in proper perspective for the throw to be accurate.
So the 8th play of the drive, and Chang keeping after the fake to Brewster. Bruises his way inside the 15. Let's get an update in the studio from Reese Davis.
Taco Bell takes us to Pittsburgh, Dave, Miami, and the Panthers. On the drive are the Panthers. Rod Rutherford rolling, finding his tight end Chris Wilson. Hey, Miami giving up the second fewest number of touchdown passes in the country, but the Panthers on the board 7-0, trying to get a share of that Big East title with West Virginia, which beat Temple today.
West Virginia knocking off Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago in the backyard brawl, setting up this final weekend to settle things in the Big East. Second down and 8. Chang looking end zone. Corner of the end zone, overthrown, intended for Owens. Owens, who had a couple of steps on Carlos Andrews, and it's 3rd and 8.
When Hawaii played at San Jose this year, they won a squeaker 13-10. San Jose on a disputed timing situation at the 1-yard line at the end of the game, and Chang did not have his best day, and Hawaii able to win without Chang having his normal uncanny accuracy. They will not beat Alabama unless Timmy starts throwing the ball on the money.
That's his dad. That's Levi, and he's working for us today.
That's Mr. Chang.
Known as the Red Hat. He helps us time out commercials, make sure they don't begin play until we're ready for him, too. Another one to the end zone and another one incomplete, intended for Jason Rivers. Anthony Madison with the coverage, 4th down.
When this offense is clicking as it was a week ago, it is really virtually unstoppable. 700+ yards on offense against an Army team. And yes, Army has struggled this year, but that's hard to do against air, Dave.
Well, Justin Ayat out to try this kick. They had gone with Nolan Miranda last week. Ayat 14 out of 21, but he's missed 8 extra points this year. 31-yard try, angle right to left, and off the upright.
Hawaii has scored points 85% of the time in the red zone this year. They've been a very good red zone team, but they have not been a very good field goal team.
What a letdown that has got to be after that drive ends in nothing for June Jones. More on him when we come back.
Wrangler 5-star premium quality denim. Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Wireless, where are we?
Comparing high-speed data networks, Sprint's 30% bigger than AT&T Wireless.
But AT&T Wireless, they've been around.
If Sprint has better coverage, isn't it obvious?
Right. Let's look at Sprint. You are...
The plant guy.
Central Plant?
I know Ficus Plant.
Didn't mean to jump in, but
they'll thank you for it.
30% more coverage than with AT&T Wireless. Get the facts at sprintpcs.com. One Sprint, many solutions.
Back in Honolulu, and the history of the lei dates back to Polynesian voyagers who wore it to beautify and kind of dignify themselves. And if you notice, Hawaii head coach June Jones wearing one as well. He's worn one every single game as head coach here at the University of Hawaii. And the lei has been given to him by the same person every time. One of the wives of his college friend from his Warrior playing days here makes the lei with her hand, same colors, same flowers every time. And guys, I'll be serving up some more cultural tales from this region throughout the game, including some great stories out of American Samoa. There's 3 players on the Hawaii roster from that island area.
We look forward to our education.
Robert Louis Stevenson, no less. Or Rob Stone.
Alabama first 10 from the 20. Sean Williams turning the corner, a flag down as Williams is marked out around the 27. So Hawaii coming up empty after a long drive, and a field goal bangs off the upright. Isaac Sopoaga, the Pongo native, headed toward the Senior Bowl and the East-West postseason All-Star affair. He turned into a very highly recruited player out of College of the Canyons in California. Indication against the Tide. Isaac may not have been that well known in Pongo Pongo, but once he had set a national record as a sophomore in college at the Canyon with 31 sacks. That's a single season, 31 sacks his sophomore year. Everybody wanted him. Florida State, Kansas State, Nebraska, Texas A&M, Washington State. He came here to Honolulu. 1st and 16. Boyle. Tyrone throw. Nice block out there, and he's free. Cut back at midfield. Down to the 42-yard line. 44 yards for the true freshman.
You run, and then you fake the run to the right, the little quick screen back to the left. Atlas Harrion, number 75, out in front. Marvelous job of blocking by the big guy. Good running by Prothro. And Alabama is in Hawaii territory one more time. Everything's wonderful when you can run the football. You get the misdirection, you get the linebackers out of position chasing the run, and then you're off with the screen.
Boyle under some pressure and sacks for a loss of 5.
Yep, Boyle wanted to put it up. They were going to go for the big one, which is very wise when you make a big play, but Houston Ala, number 93, had other ideas. Nice coverage in the secondary.
That's one thing Hawaii did very well to Boyle's predecessor, Tyler Watts, last year. They sacked him a half dozen times and held Alabama to just 93 passing yards in that 21-16 victory for the Tide. 21 seconds to go. A timeout of the first quarter. 7-0 Tide.
Where does reality end and pure vision begin? A Pioneer plasma display can deliver more than 1 billion colors, taking high-definition television to a whole new level. Pure vision. Only from Pioneer.
Let's face it, there are a lot of bad drivers out there. You can't change their driving, but you can learn to avoid them. That's why at Liberty Mutual, we teach something called decision driving and offer the latest auto safety advice to keep the road safer and keep premiums down.
Liberty Mutual. It's more than insurance. It's insurance in action.
Looks like we've got some work to do.
So late first quarter, 7-0. Alabama driving and looking for more. If you were, you've got one.
That's a Miley lay. That's for royalty. That's just, I'm serious.
Like I don't know that.
Yeah.
You brought a team.
Everybody in Dallas knows that, don't they?
You brought a team here in lieu of a postseason, in lieu of a bowl game, because you can't go to a bowl game. You're getting the whole experience here, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, these guys have enjoyed being here, and then they're playing like they're serious football players. But that's what Alabama does. That's what they're expected to do. And you face the whole offseason. You don't want to come to Hawaii and get beaten and go home and spend the offseason hearing about it.
5 seconds added to the clock, so 26 seconds on that snap. After the pirouette, Shawn Williams with the screen, and very close to the first down at the 32. 15 yards. Let's get an update from Reeves.
Dave, what a finish in the swamp. Florida and Florida State. Seminoles win at 38-34. Some unpleasantries after the game sort of marred what was a terrific college football game.
Boy, you just never know what you're going to get from Chris Ricks.
Wow.
You saw him completely dominated at Clemson a couple of weeks ago, and he turns it around, and that will be a play that lives in history among the legendary finishes for Florida State. We're done with the first 15 minutes in Honolulu. 7-0 Alabama under much friendlier circumstances so far.
The 2003 K1 World Championship. Call now to order.
48 microprocessors for speed. Voice recognition for ease. and satellite tracking in case of theft or emergency. Or if you just want a good seafood restaurant. The technologically advanced Acura RL, whether you measure it in horsepower or gigabytes.
Turning moments into memories. Corvell.
It's not your job.
It's not your accent.
Not your clothes.
It's not your car.
It's not your lipstick.
It's not your
Friends. It's not your shoes.
It's not your laugh. It's not your hair.
It's your watch.
You can tell more about a person by the watch they wear than anything else. Seiko Kinetic, powered by the movement of your body.
Available at Whitehall.
Welcome again. Second quarter now at Aloha Stadium in Honolulu. 7-0 Alabama. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, Rob Stone. Somewhere around 45,000 or so at Aloha Stadium today. Said about 8,000 Tide fans made this trip last year. Not quite so many this year, but still very well represented.
Yeah, there were a lot of them around. A lot of them at our hotel. There they are.
They are not hard to spot. And the second quarter opening from the 31-yard line. Play fake. Coyle look deep. Receiver falls down. Now backyard football to the end zone and incomplete. Just overthrown. Intended for Lance Taylor. He had motioned Taylor to move to his left after the first target fell down in the end zone.
I got to tell you, though, what a gun Brody Coyle has. Golly. When he pulls the trigger, that thing explodes off his hand. He took a shot, but he's accustomed to taking shots. He's played all year with a knockdown left shoulder. Separated it against South Florida in August. Shoulder popped out the next week. Injured it again 2 weeks later. And then again 1 week later at Georgia, cracked both ribs and re-injured 2 ribs and re-injured the shoulder. But he's a tough guy. Always out there.
Shovel pass. Williams slipping through to the 15. And maybe a fumble at the end. Will they say he was down? Hawaii players indicating a recovery, but not the officials. They're going to say fumble at the end of the play. First down at the 16.
Alabama's game plan has been very clear. Power blocking. Beautiful job by the Justin Smiley, number 78 there. The linebacker trying to take him on. He just root hogged him. Single blocking here by the center. Got a nice standoff there with the middle linebacker, Chad Kalili-Moku. And Chad's had a tough day. He's made a couple of plays, but he's been blocked a lot by those big guys.
Ray Hudson, the tailback. Backs his way down to the 13. Where Keana Alapa, the strong side linebacker, makes the stop.
Keani really passionate about football here, and the excitement that these guys had that they're going to get to come play against Alabama. And the best thing to do if you're Alabama against a team like this that's so excited, it's going to be flying around with a potent offense, is to just keep the ball, demoralize them, keep on hammering at them, throw an occasional pass, but just stay after them, knocking them back.
Just a heaping dose of SEC.
Yep.
Boyle steps up and finds Lance Taylor, who is very close to first and goal. Needed to get just outside the 6. Let's look at our Pioneer game track through the first quarter. Sean Williams, the story of that first period. It's a 56-yarder that made it first and goal from the 5. He would eventually carry it over. Timmy Chang has not looked like The man who may by this time next year be the all-time leading passer in the history of college football. Chang just 4 of 13, 29 yards. It is close enough for a measurement. Our yellow line would indicate he's short, and he is short. Yellow line making its island debut right here tonight.
The very first time the yellow line has been shown in a Hawaii game.
It's already earned its key. So third and a couple of feet.
Alabama averaging 5.5 yards on first down. That's beautiful. If you're Alabama's offense, you like that. If you're Mike Shula, 7 first downs, trying to make another one right here.
Tied just a 34% success rate this year on third down. And Coyle sneaking with a flag.
Got an illegal formation by Alabama.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty, down to still 3.
Deadly to drives. You're down here next to the 5-yard line. You're going to make a first down, a little quarterback sneak, and somebody's careless, either movement or alignment problems, so that the formation's illegal, and suddenly you got 3rd and 6. Tough time making first downs all year for Alabama. They're 11th in the SEC. Last in extra point conversions. I don't know if that's because they went for 2 a lot. There's somebody that's already decided who he or she's going to pull for. Well, somebody decided.
She. Pretty sure. Third down, slant in, complete down to the 3 to Zach Fletcher, and it's 1st and goal, Crimson Tide. Kevin Millhouse had the coverage, but Fletcher got the inside position. Big target, 6'3", 200. Senior from Moulton, Alabama, keeps the drive alive. With this drive now, the Tide over 200 total yards. Significant because it's been an offense challenge team most of the year. They're just 81st in the country in total offense.
Tight ends.
10th play of the series. To the end zone. Wide open. Touchdown. The tight end, Clint Johnston, with his first touchdown, just his 6th catch of the season. And it's 13-0.
Shad Williams, not just a fine ball carrier. Shad Williams, just take a look to the right of your screen, number 21. He is a football player. Here comes a big outside linebacker right at the thigh level. You drive the shoulder pad through, it's a knockdown, and the quarterback has a nice field of vision.
Bostic adds the extra point, 14-0 Bama. And a nice mixture on that drive. Mostly the run, but some well slipped in passes, and this one finishes it off. The sophomore from Wetumpka, Alabama, Johnston.
My husband's going to cut you off when the light turns green. I'm driving with my knees.
You don't always know who to avoid out there.
I'm really tired.
That's why every Saturn L300 comes standard with ABS brakes, traction control, and head curtain side airbags. Finance the new 2004 Saturn L300-1 for $249 a month. See your retailer for details.
Last Thanksgiving, about 2 million people tried to deep fat fry their turkey. 15 succeeded in setting their houses on fire. At Christmas, there was a lot of driving over the river and through the woods and a little bit of skidding on the ice and taking out Grandma's garage door. So while you're celebrating, Allstate will be standing by. Trouble never takes the holiday. Neither should your insurance. That's Allstate, Stan. Are you in good hands?
Sprint's got wireless and wireline integrated, managed as one seamless network.
Yeah, but we're meeting with AT&T.
And AT&T Wireless.
Huh?
Hi. Hello.
How you doing?
Hi.
How are you? AT&T. AT&T Wireless.
So when do we meet with Sprint?
Two guys, one suit. You should have seen it. Sometimes seeing is believing.
Get integrated wireline and wireless services from one company. Get the facts at Sprint.com. One Sprint, many solutions.
Early in the second quarter, 14-0 Crimson Tide. And June Jones scratching his head trying to figure out how they are going to get their offense to get something cranking. They've thrown for only 29 yards so far. Timmy Chang totally ineffective. Short, long, intermediate, hasn't mattered. He just has not been on target yet. That's the backup who had people talking after hitting 16 straight passes in the last game against Army, Jason Whieldon. And Hawaii is no different than any place else. Most popular guy on the team, the backup quarterback.
Yep.
Some were wondering if perhaps we'd see more of Whieldon today. Not necessarily in the plan today. Ross, a nice return, juking his way to the 29. Terrence Jones with the tackle there. And let's get an update in the studio from Reese Davis.
All right, David, Miami has answered that Pittsburgh touchdown, 30-yard line, Tyrone Moss. Boy, that is a big old scene. Look out for the grass, scramble up. We got in. Miami and Pittsburgh tied at 7. Panthers just missed a field goal.
Didn't turn out to be that long of a wait for the Jason Whieldon fans. He is in with this first series of the second quarter. Senior, Orange, California. Played in 9 games. He's at 64% of his passes. 16 of 17 against Army. And 1 for 1 today as Say Pomele makes the catch. Let's send it down to Rod.
Dave, this is a quarterback change planned right at the beginning of Alabama's last scoring drive. Whieldon was behind the bench, tossing some hard balls. June Jones came by not once, but twice with the game plan. Talked to him, discussed some plays. But you look at Timmy Chang on the sideline. I've been watching him. He's got his helmet on, and he's strapped in like he's ready to go. So I'm not sure how much information Chang received on this change.
Well, one would expect he will definitely see more than what we've seen from him so far today. But Whieldon getting a shot at it here. Over the middle. First down at midfield, a gain of 17 to Cochran.
Timmy Chang's been struggling. We talked about the good footwork, but you got to follow through. He's been aiming, he's been overthrowing, and he's been throwing behind. If you got a good backup, you got to give him a shot, and Whieldon's in there 2 for 2 to go with his 16 for 16 a week ago. Not too bad, David.
18 of his last 19. And one here again, Cochran. Walker out in front. Cochran with a burst all the way. 48 yards. Exploding past Carlos Andrews. The final 20 yards, leaving a vapor trail.
And that's the same guy you saw dancing in the locker room before the game. And look at the sideline. Suddenly animated, bodies in black and green. And the Warriors are back to being Warriors. And that's the quick strike capacity of the June Jones offense.
Nolan Miranda for this PAT, and he's good. He hit 8 of 8 against Army last week when Whieldon showed his goods. So, no problem. Timmy Chang struggling. So what? He's second in the nation in total offense. Let's go to the backup. 3 plays later, Hawaii is on the board.
Thanks for letting me bring Fifi.
Oh, anything for you, baby. I'd give you the moon, the stars, and the ultimate love potion. Ice cold Bud Light.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
Don't worry, I got him. Ooh.
140 horsepower engine and responsive handling, we put the fun back into the compact car, the Saturn Ion. Finance a new 2004 Saturn Ion 1 with air conditioning and CD player for $179 a month. See your retailer for details.
Now Mentos has 70% more, and they come in a box. Go Box!
Taco Bell's Fajita Grilled Stuffed Burrito. Sizzling marinated carne asada steak and tasty fajita veggies. Wrapped and grilled to go.
You should have gotten fajitas.
Nothing beats the sizzle when you think outside the bun.
ESPN College Basketball. The nation's top conferences battle it out in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Begins Monday on ESPN and ESPN2.
ESPN's College Football Saturday. Brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light. And by Saturn, makers of the highly adaptable View, stylish midsize L300, and the fun-to-drive Ion.
Coaching genius. Jason Whieldon makes June Jones look like one. Comes in for an ineffective Timmy Chang. Hits 3 out of 3, drives him 71 yards. And it's as if Aloha Stadium's energy level was on a rundown battery. Now it's been plugged in, and it's a completely different atmosphere as Brandon Brooks wisely settles for the touchback.
All right, Joe Kynes has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs in the game, but you force man coverage up here at the top. All right, then the big guard, number 69, Uriah Moanoa, is out on the little cornerback, Thurman Ward, number 1. This is not a real clear picture, but you could see the kick out, and then down the sideline, Cochran outruns everybody in the secondary. And the theory is that if you got 5 DBs on the field, they're not going to make a big play on you. You got man coverage and somebody gets blocked, outrun the free safety, touchdown. Great job by Cochran. Great job by Moanoa, the guard.
And for the first time, Alabama has to deal with crowd energy.
And you know who that is, Travis LeBoy, the leader for Hawaii in tackles for loss. He's the active leader for the WAC conference. That's his 47th tackle for loss in his career.
Ken Darby never had a chance. Redshirt freshman from Huntsville, top running back in the state there 2 years ago. Hit almost the instant the ball arrived and lost 5. Boyle sets up the screen and blown up inside the 10. Ikeka Kernan.
The kick has been taken on those big guards. It's a lot more fun to read the screen and tackle those little backs. Hawaii fields the screen. LeBoy's got pressure again, forces the bad throw. And right in his face in man coverage is Ikeka Kernan. This whole place has come alive. You got that right, Dave.
Called incomplete, and on 3rd and 15, Tyrone Prothro tries to spin and get anywhere near the original line of scrimmage. Keone Alapa with the tackle at the 22, and the Hawaii defense responding to the energy supplied by Whieldon and the Hawaii offense.
This is why football is such a great team game. The offense makes a big play. The defense has got to respond with some emotion and fly around and make plays and get the ball back. That's exactly what's happened here.
Bo Freeland to punt. Wind tends to swirl around this place. Excellent kick here. And at the 27, Christian Herbert. First man misses. So does the second. And he is sandwiched at the 34-yard line. High low. A 51-yard punt by Freeland. 7 on the return. Jason Whieldon ignited the Hawaii attack. See what he can do on his second series when we come back.
My husband's going to cut you off when the light turns green.
I'm driving with my knees.
You don't always know who to avoid out there.
I'm really tired.
That's why every Saturn L300 comes standard with ABS brakes, traction control, and head curtain side airbags. Finance the new 2004 Saturn L300 for $249 a month. See your retailer for details.
Introducing the all-new Nissan Quest, a revolutionary minivan featuring 5 Skyview windows, an innovative center console, automated side and rear lift doors, and fold-away second and third row seats. Moms have changed. Shouldn't the minivan?
Rise and shine to get ready for work. Then my bro's on the phone. Hey, let's hit the surf. Now we're cruising on the highway, heading for the waves, looking for a sweet spot to surf all day.
You could win a Powerade surfboard. Get an entry form every time you purchase a Powerade sports drink or any supersized soft drink. So hurry down to McDonald's to power up and win.
I'm loving it.
Seen in the Hawaii locker room before the game, Jeremiah Cochran getting everybody fired up. Barely fired himself up. And with that, completely changed the feel of this Alabama-Hawaii matchup. 14-7. Whieldon out for his second series as they take over at the 34-yard line. 3 for 3, now 4 for 4. It's the shovel. Michael Brewster. What a cutback. Brewster inside the 25. 43 yards on the shovel.
Watch Timmy Chang responding to the play by Brewster and his buddy Whieldon. Toughest thing for linebackers. Do you drop? The quarterback's rolling in a half row. And this little shovel pass is just something that June Jones loves. And it's nothing but a basic running play. If it goes on the ground, it's just an incomplete pass. So it's not as risky as even a handoff. Beautiful running by Brewster.
Injured Alabama player being checked out there. While we try and pick up who that is, and I believe it is the defensive tackle. It is Jeremy Clark. He appears to be okay. Let's check in with Reese.
All right, Dave, we'll take our first look of the night at Notre Dame and Stanford. The Fighting Irish are rolling. Julius Jones is already over 100 yards rushing, and Brady Quinn goes up top to Matt Shelton. Junior hauls it in and scores 21-0 Irish on top.
Irish winning the Ty Willingham Bowl. Here, Jason Whieldon now 4 for 4 for 114 yards and a touchdown, and they're knocking on the door again. At the Alabama 23, 5 for 5. And at the 18-yard line is where they mark down Daniel Inferrero.
June Jones describes his offense as just like the wishbone. I said, wait a minute, June, what do you mean by that? You mean the wishbone, which is a triple option? He said, well, obviously we're not running the ball, we're not running the option, but we do the same things over and over and over until we get so good at them we can do them against any kind of look. Alabama back with this 30 package now, 6 DBs, 2 outside linebackers.
Whieldon sets to keep, and he's inside the 10 with a first and goal. Hit by Roman Harper. Whieldon doing everything. Throwing it short, throwing it deep, the shovel pass, and when necessary, as he shows here, he can keep it himself.
How many times have you been in a game where the starter's struggling and the backup comes in and just lights it up? He's under no pressure. He's out there having fun. Everything comes fluid to him. He has not been asked all the questions all week by the press. He's just playing football.
I don't know how often I've seen this much of a contrast, though.
Well, if you'd have been here last week, you'd have seen it.
This much of an effect by Whieldon. This time to give to Brewster. Read well, and a late flag coming from near the Alabama secondary. Antoine Odom, D'Amico Ryans combining on the tackle. Holiday tradition with a new twist. Annika Sorenstam becomes the first woman to compete in the Skins game this weekend as she tees it off against Phil Mickelson, Fred Couples, and Mark O'Meara. Our coverage concludes Sunday at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. That would be 12:30 Hawaiian. That'll be the Skins game. Back again Thanksgiving weekend on ABC.
One of the major criticisms of the run and shoot offense is that it's not supposed to be good in the red zone. But we mentioned earlier they came into this game scoring 85% of the time they get down here, 61% of the time touchdowns. You'd like to have about 70% touchdowns. They need a touch here.
5-yard face mask against Alabama. From the 4, Whieldon back to the end zone, touchdown! Save Pomele! And Whieldon is 6 for 6, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. Miranda to try and tie it up, and he's good. Timmy Chang, second in the nation in total offense. Ineffective, struggling. They pulled him. They put in Jason Whieldon. He has literally been perfect in bringing the Warriors back to a tie.
In your eyes, there's only one woman in the world. This Christmas, celebrate her. A diamond is forever.
Right now, all Goodyear tires are on sale. That's right, all of them. And when you buy 4 selected Goodyear tires, you get up to $75 cash. So hurry in and pick out a winner.
Crest Spin Brush. The superior clean makes it one holiday gift that's actually good for your family. Crest Spin Brush, a better spin on clean.
Well, I don't know. If I'm Timmy Chang, I'm very happy for Jason Whieldon. I think I may also be happy that Jason's a senior. Timmy's going to come back for next year. What an ending Jason Whieldon is putting on his senior year. 16 of 17 last week off the bench against Army. 6 of 6 today. 22 of 23. You can't do that in practice.
You can't do that in practice against air with no defenders. Most people can't. Jason Whieldon can. And that's not Army playing out there on defense either. Last week he had a struggling Army team. This is the Alabama secondary he's playing against.
One which was completely dominating the game. No chance for the return for Brandon Brooks.
Alabama's trying to play a zone down here. And what happens is just a nice little settle in the middle of the zone in the window. A perfect throw and catch. And after the play, Timmy Chang coming over to congratulate his teammate. Actually, that's Owens. Yeah, there's Timmy. Yep.
Crowd louder than ever now as the Tide take it at the 20. And Sean Williams loses a shoe as he picks up 5 yards. I think it was Williams. Ran out of it. No, it was actually one of his blockers. Tim Castile, the true freshman fullback. It's really been 2 different games. First game dominated by Alabama. They had their way of things offensively, mostly on the ground. Defensively stuffed Timmy Chang in the Hawaii offense for about a quarter and a half, and then the backup quarterback Jason Whieldon has come in. He has not missed in driving Hawaii for 2 touchdowns. 6 of 6 for 123 yards. Williams looks for the cutback alley, stretches across the 30, will have the first down. And imperative now for Bill, for Alabama to not settle for another 3 and out, stretch together another couple first downs minimum, even if they don't get points out.
That's right. The dominant unit in this game until Whieldon came in was the Alabama offensive line and the blockers just moving the chains, just methodically taking the ball down the field, an occasional pass, a little slip screen here and there, a little slant when they got down near the goal line. But the running game with the big guys up front has been the difference, and that's what they need to reestablish, and they've got 1 first down toward that now.
Boyle over the middle and dropped. Triendos Luke had it in his hands. Let's see what is on Reese's agendas. He updates Miami and Pittsburgh. Reese Davis.
Well, my agenda is just to tell you what's going on. What should be on Paul Rhodes, defensive coordinator of Pittsburgh's agenda, is finding a way to stop the run. Cannot do it. Tyrone Moss in for the 2nd time tonight. The Canes on top of Pittsburgh, 14-7.
So that's a quarter and a half with no touchdown catches for Larry Fitzgerald. That's how you keep track of him. How many quarters has he gone without a touchdown?
Yeah.
Tonight. Timeout. First of this first half called by the Tide with 5:59 to go.
Mike Shula taking a calculated risk there. First down passing is the best time to throw against a defense like this. You got him up there in the 8-man front. There's a lot of stuff open, but if you get a drop ball instead of coming up 2nd and 4, Luke puts the ball on the ground. Wouldn't have been a terribly tough catch. Now you got 2nd and 10, and that's what you don't want in a game like this. The crowd's emotion, the emotional team on the other side all jacked up. Now you're going to have to throw the football more than likely 2 times to make the first.
Our Sunday night football matchup, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, the defending Super Bowl champions, still trying to salvage their season. Maybe addition by subtraction. We'll see how they do week 2 without Keyshawn as they take on the Jaguars at 8:30 Eastern, Sunday Night Football, ESPN, and available nationwide on ESPN HD. It begins with NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite at 7:30 Eastern. Let's also ask our Aflac trivia question tonight. This is a good one. Really going to have to chew on this one. Year and location, please, for Hawaii's first game ever played on the mainland. Year?
That is a good one. That's a real good one.
Meanwhile, 2nd and 10. After the timeout, Coyle. This time, a strike on the post. Zach Fletcher down to the 40 of the Warriors and a gain of 28.
Beautiful job of running the route, making the throw, protection's just right. Brody Coyle sits in there, and it's a nice dig pattern. Zach Fletcher looking the ball in, making sure he secures it, gets on the ground, and that is the kind of thing. Now they should go right back to the running game.
Fletcher, just a winner. 2 national championships at City College in San Francisco, 24-0 there. Sean Williams, as they go back to the running game, hit for a loss by Kernan, the weak side linebacker, the leading tackler for the Warriors.
That dominance that we saw by the big guys up front for Alabama, Harry and Smiley, Klosner, Alexander and Evan Mathis has sort of wilted here in the emotion, in the face of the emotion and the effort of people like Kernan. Khalili Moku, the middle linebacker, number 56. They're starting to make some pops now instead of getting run through. And now again, we got 2nd and 12.
Williams still having a pretty terrific first half. 11 carries, 72 yards. And we get whistles and flags before the snap.
Nice job by Brody Croyle to use the hard count, drawing the defense. Defensive lineman should be. He's going to.
Called it offensive 5 yards for delay. Play clock had just run out.
Play clock ran. Well, they dodged a bullet there, the Hawaii defensive lineman, because they certainly jumped on the sound rather than the movement of the ball. Brody Croyle got so engrossed with using the snap count and the hard count that he didn't watch the 25-second clock.
Play clock at 0.
That's
right
it.
there.
Yep. Good call.
So 2nd down, 17. And Cole settles for the short out. Tim Castile hit immediately. Well read that time by Hiram Peters and the rest of the Warrior defense. At a big 3rd and long coming here. A must stop for Hawaii. They've given up some 3rd and longs already. But with 4 minutes to go, a stop here, as hot as the offense is, get them the ball back. Give them about 3 minutes to work with.
Absolutely. And big thing for Alabama right now is to preserve their right to punt and not try to force something.
One-man rush, pressure, and a sack. Mel Purcell and Travis LeBoy at the 44 of Alabama. A huge loss. 2nd sack for the Warrior defense.
Now you got a throwing football game, and it's a little bit different matter. And those big linemen have a little problem. Harrion taking on the twist here. LeBoy persistent, marvelous closing speed. As his coaches have said, this guy's going to play at the next level. I think that's the case.
Wind really swirling now, and the snap gets away from Freeland. Throwing out of desperation. Roman Harper now cutting all the way back across the field. He may turn this one into a real gain. As it is, he's caught at the 43. For a moment, it looked like he might have a prayer of getting the first down. He gets 11 yards out of it. Finally run down by Ross Dickerson.
Let's talk about what we're seeing here. What we're seeing here is an Alabama team that came out ready to play. They jumped on this smaller team. A little bit less talented. They got ahead. And then they figured, well, we got it made now. They've allowed 2 touchdown drives. They've had a drop ball that cost them this drive. Now the punter comes out and drops the snap. So you lose a little concentration in a heated game like this. And it is heated, trust me. These Hawaii kids want to win this football game big time. And all of a sudden you got a football game.
That is Gary Wright. He may have been the man Tyrone Prothro waylaid on that block.
Yeah, he is. It was a legal block. It was just a good, clean. It was a heck of a hit by Prothro.
So, well, they look at Gary Wright. 2:47 to go in the half. Reese, what do you have for us at halftime?
Coming up on the Pontiac High Performance Halftime Report, we'll talk about the Sunshine Sensation, and it's Big East Decision Day, and also a little Stoops brotherly love.
And Miami playing Pittsburgh, and we'll talk about why Pittsburgh can't tackle these Miami running backs.
And I'll tell you how good the freshman quarterback Chris Leak is at Florida.
I don't want to steal your thunder, but can I say very, very good?
Absolutely.
He was exceptional today. We'll see you in a few minutes.
You know, if I heard Bob Stoops correctly, I think I heard him say losing his brother, the brilliant defensive coordinator Mike, the new head coach at Arizona, won't affect him all that much. I might have second thoughts about that if I were Mike.
Yeah, but if you're the big brother, you can say whatever you want.
I guess so. But come on, a little
we didn't
credit,
need this
please.
little guy. Well, isn't it a co-coordinator situation with Venable? The other guy is a co-coordinator, so he knows what to do. And Bob says, I'll go take the secondary. Maybe I can still coach a little bit.
Gary Wright continues to be checked, and we will break. 2:47 to go. First half of a 14-14 game.
It's where academics count. It's where athletes count. It's where alumni count. Count it all up, and you'll have a crystal clear picture of what we believe, who we are, and what we do. Our purpose, our focus, our passion. We are the Western Athletic Conference, where actions count.
A world of learning, excellence, diversity, and opportunity. 10 campuses on islands of tropical splendor. The most unique educational experience on Earth. The University of Hawaii System.
Nice ovation for Gary Wright. Finally up, making his way off. And a chance now to answer this rain teaser of an Aflac trivia question. Year and location, Hawaii's first game played on the U.S. mainland was a while back, actually 1923. Rose Bowl in Pasadena, when they played Cal Poly Pomona. Can you imagine?
One of the great powers. One of the powers.
Featuring Cal Poly Pomona. They took a 5-day ocean liner trip to get there. First year of the football program was 1909, and 14 years later on the mainland. Deep ball incomplete, intended for Cochran. Charlie Pepra had excellent coverage, the sophomore corner from Plano, Texas. And their co-leader with 4 interceptions, 8 for his career. Just a little less than 2 seasons.
We're back to Joe Kine's, what he calls the 30 package. 3 down linemen. You're not going to get a lot of pressure, but there are not many places to throw the ball. And with a 3-deep coverage, that was a 3-deep zone there, you're just not going to get a chance on that deep ball. The corners are going to turn and run.
First incompletion by Whieldon. After he hit his first 6 for 123 yards and 2 scores. Michael Brewster. Jawan Garth runs him down right at midfield, and it'll be 3rd and 4. Both teams 2 timeouts, a little under 2.5 minutes to work with for Hawaii. Just the second meeting ever between these two, an Alabama 21-16 win last year. The series arranged by Mike Schuler's predecessor, Dennis Franchione, when he realized that his first couple of Alabama teams would be shackled by probation, wouldn't get a chance to make a trip like this in the postseason. So he made sure they made one in the regular season. Homele, the nearest target there. Cochran was in the area as well, and I'm not sure who was at fault there, Whieldon or either of those receivers. So Whieldon finally proves human, and Hawaii can't move it.
So many innovations in football come from the players. Timmy Chang figured out that the defensive linemen were getting a key on his hands when he brought them up. The defensive lineman knew the ball was about to be snapped. So now what does Whieldon do? He does exactly the same thing as Chang. His hands are up, so there are no keys with the hands about when the snap is on its way. Good policy in the gun.
Burton Milne nose up. Hawaii bounce. This is going to be outstanding. This is going to be just about perfect. In fact, killed at the 2. Can you do it any better than that? 48 yards dead at the 2.
And there's another aspect. Good special teams coaches teach their coverage people to allow that ball to keep rolling, because the other team's going to get the ball and the clock is running as long as you don't touch it. When you touch it, that's when the clock stops. You want to leave them as little time as possible.
Rob, what do we know about Gary Wright?
It is a bruised abdomen. He has just left the field walking into the tunnel, so he has done at a minimum for this half. So it's not a concussion or anything like that, but they're calling it a bruised abdomen.
Really took a slam from Tyrone Prothro, blindsided on that unintentional fake punt pass on the drop snap at Freeland. Ray Hudson right into the center of the line, and they'll give him a couple.
Now, believe it or not, this is a great place to put one up. Just run the fly. Get your fastest guy on their weakest coverage guy. Arrange that by formation. That's exactly what June Jones was practicing yesterday afternoon up at the UH at their practice field, because it's what is least expected. Then you got to do the good job of protection.
Jones with his next to last time out. Minute 33 to go. Tied back up on their own 4 in a 14 all time.
Who's the most convenient bank in America? U.S. Bank. The one with full-service branches in more states, more ATMs in more convenient places, and more 24-hour banking options, both over the phone and online at usbank.com. Best of all, everything we do is backed by our one-of-a-kind 5-star service guarantee. The most convenient bank in America? That's easy. That's us. U.S. Bank.
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six 3, rated M for mature.
Ah, there it is, the twitch of doubt. Common to anyone who fears paying too much. Fortunately, Helzberg Diamond's value promise is certain to de-twitchify you. Helzberg Diamonds. Confidence comes in a burgundy box.
No doubt some of the Alabama players have tried their hand at surfing. And they come onto the field and face that.
Yeah, I just want that guy on my side. I want him to play middle linebacker for me. I love to watch those guys do that dance.
I'd settle for him just talking to my middle linebacker.
Yeah.
Alabama's running game has disappeared. 2nd and 8. Portal incomplete. A trap by Dre Fulgham. And it will be 3rd and 8. The clock stops at a minute 28 and a half.
This is a tough call for the officials, and really just a little thing for football fans. The umpire comes. The umpire is the guy that usually watches the offensive lineman. He looks in there and he sees that this ball went on the ground. He's coming from in here, and he can look in there. There he is. Umpire is Steve Kohler, and he can make that call. He's a WAC official. He turns and looks away from the O-line to make the right call. Good job.
Alabama at least wanting to avoid punting out of the end zone. Draw play, Ray Hudson fooling no one. They will have to punt it from their own end zone. First, Hawaii will use its last time out with a minute 18.
Very small thing, Dave. On that draw play, something important happened. Alabama got the ball outside the 5-yard line. Now, these are the little details of football. That means that the punter can punt from his normal depth. Most teams line up at 14 or 14 and a half yards, the punter's heels. If you bring that up, then there's much greater risk that there'll be a blocked punt. So that was an important play just to get outside the 5-yard line, believe it or not. Tiny details win for you.
Alabama's played the 2nd toughest schedule in the country this year. And they have kept some of them close, especially against Oklahoma. Only 20-13. Jason White, a 47-yard touchdown after a fake punt. Croyle, interception, 2nd overtime, setting up Arkansas's win. 11th ranked Georgia, 31 points in the 2nd quarter, 3 coaching turnovers. 5 OTs, Tennessee finally surviving. And then against number 3 LSU, Alabama attempting 7 passes, rushing for only 65 yards. Only Notre Dame has had a tougher schedule in 2003. You don't get that just anywhere.
Wow. Is that beautiful? And you can find them almost every day over here.
makes me wonder what June Jones wanted to remove rainbow from the mascot. The other
I
teams
don't think
kept
it sounds real masculine or tough.
Come on, though. Look at that. You got to look at that and tell me you wouldn't be known for your rainbow, the Warriors. Owens decides at the last instant to back away from that one. And here comes a flag from 20 yards downfield. Freeland's punt goes 40.
Yeah, a really dumb penalty. Really dumb penalty. Akaika Alama Francis just drilled a guy in the back about 20 yards from the ball. And instead of having the ball at the 46-yard line, they're going to walk it back. They could call it a personal foul. They'll probably call it a block in the back. Yeah, they're going to call it a push in the back. It's a 10-yarder.
The thing about those rainbows is you look up and it's gone, but it'll be back.
But is there a pot of gold at the end of it for the Rainbow Warriors, or the former Rainbow Warriors? I've had a hard time not saying that, frankly. I've said Rainbow Warriors in reference to Hawaii football for a long time, and I've had good friends that have coached over here for a long time.
Just goes.
June knows what he's doing. We'll just do it June's way.
You win 9 or 10. Call him anything you want. Underneath, and Cochran fights hard to get up to midfield. Remember, Hawaii without timeouts now as the clock gets under a minute.
Alabama has had trouble with the deep ball all year long. They've had people let people get behind them, make plays in front of them, and run for touchdowns. They're back in their 30 package now, 6 DBs.
Fumble recovered by Pomele. And he winds up right where the fumble happened, 47.
That's called fortuitous bounce or flat-out luck, whichever you prefer. Because Pomele is on the spot. Otherwise, an Alabama guy is going to catch it coming because they were in a zone. They're coming at the ball, meaning they're looking at the football. They would just pick it up and run it the other way.
3rd and 1, bounced. Intended for Pomele, and now 4th and 1 with 14 seconds. So you can get the first down. They stop the clock to move the chains. Then you can come out, spike it, and get at least one good shot at it, but they are sending their punting unit out.
Yeah, you got to start thinking now, Dave, who's going to play quarterback in the third quarter?
I could not believe what I was seeing when Kurt Milne ran out there. Possibly only to bait Alabama into sending their punt return group out, and they have, and now they need to get reset, and they call timeout. They had sent their punt returner scrambling onto the field when they saw Milne leave the sideline. They didn't see Milne head back to the sideline.
They ought to quick kick it. Just quick kick it.
In the past 5 years, cable companies have raised their rates by over 40%. Excessive? We think it's piggish.
It broke my piggy bank. It took my dolly. It took my jewelry.
All right, that's it. Get the kids. We're switching to Dish Network.
Get 50 channels for under $25 a month, a free 3-room system, and free installation by calling 1-800-333-DISH. Switch to Dish Network and save now.
Well, Alabama calls time. They recall their punt return unit, and Hawaii sends the punting team back. There is no one back deep to return this for Alabama. They never quite get matched up unit for unit. Surprising that they punted away with only seconds remaining. Milne, who killed the last one on the 2, gets this one dead around the 7 with no one back there to return it anyway for Alabama. Why would they not take one deep shot?
June Jones wants to make sure, because then Alabama would get one deep shot. And with their athletes, they got a lot better chance of catching it than you do if you're Hawaii. June Jones wanted to make sure he went in the locker room 14-14. That's what just happened. And he's right.
So it'll be 14-14. Alabama will snap it from the 8 and then try to figure out what happened. They were having their way with things. They looked up ahead 14-0 and saw Whieldon replace Chang at quarterback for Hawaii, and they had never really recovered since. They had about double Hawaii's total yardage when the change occurred at quarterback. It's now 255-243 Alabama total yardage. Whieldon hit his first 6, finishes the half 8 of 11 for 132 and the 2 Warrior touchdowns. He made this a game where it appeared it was going to be an Alabama blowout. Let's send it down below to Rob, who's with June Jones.
Well, Coach, simple question. I'm not sure the answer is so simple. Who's your quarterback to start the second half?
Well, both of them will play. Timmy will play some, and we'll get him going. It's a little easier when you come in off the sideline. You get a chance to see a little bit what they're doing. So he'll feel a little better in the second half.
Jason's going to start the second half, though?
Jason will probably start the second half, but we'll see Timmy before the game's out.
Coach, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
All right. There you go. That's what we'll expect when we come back here to Honolulu. Right now it's Alabama 14 and the University of Hawaii 14. From Honolulu back to Bristol in the studio, manned by Reese Davis.
All right, Dave, Trev Alberts, and Mark May with me, and certainly glued to their sets, USC Trojans and the LSU Fighting Tigers, because this game has an impact on the BCS standings because of the opponent's strength of schedule. Hawaii is an opponent of USC, Alabama an opponent of LSU, so each team rooting for their previous opponent to win. Does it bother you that a game like this one has a potential impact on the national championship game?
It does, and I think that's one of the problems, Mark, that the average fan has with the BCS. I mean, there's a lot of problems with it, but it's so confusing, and the average fan can't keep up. I mean, the fact that Hawaii's playing come on.
I totally agree with you. Until a computer wears a helmet, shoulder pads, makes a game plan, they shouldn't be involved.
I'm going to give a responsible opposing view to this. Now, this game is magnified because it's at the end of the season, but it counts no more or no less than any other opponent game on both of those schedules, games played back in September or whenever. And also, you need some type of objective component.
Computers are not objective.
Yes, they are. They take the formula, you plug the numbers in. That's the definition, the very definition of objective.
We'll talk in a commercial break.
Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN.
And I don't even have that insurance.
What insurance, Santa?
The one that pays you cash if you're hurt and can't work.
Huh?
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Can you just send out the toys?
Philips Digital Widescreen TV. Life should be so real. In your eyes, there's only one woman in the world. This Christmas, celebrate her. A diamond is forever.
The Pontiac High Performance Halftime Report is fueled by the newly redesigned 2004 Pontiac Grand Prix. Fuel for the soul.
A high level of performance down in the swamp this afternoon. Fisticuffs between the two sides. I know that the intensity and the emotion are high. No place for that. Inexcusable.
Any player that was involved in that fight, if I'm one of those head coaches, they're suspended for the bowl game, no questions asked.
But Florida State does win the game 38-34. Now FSU has won 5 of the last 6 meetings against the mighty Gators. Tennessee beats Kentucky 20-7. Vols finished 10-2. Georgia beats Georgia Tech 34-17. And because of the Florida loss, there is no way that they're going to get close enough to Georgia in the BCS standings to advance to the SEC championship game. It will be Georgia and LSU in the title game. Let's go down to Gainesville with Chris Fowler and the guys.
Reese, thank you. You got to stretch the memory banks to find a more exciting, spicier, more controversial Florida State game. The Battle of Chris's. Leak put up some great numbers, gives great promise for the future. Chris Ricks has the final word. Hear from both guys.
It's a great game to play in, and I mean, Florida State's a great team. Coach Bowden does a great job getting those guys prepared every week, and you know, that's the kind of stuff that's going to happen in football, and you just got to keep playing, keep working hard, no matter what.
That's my 28th game for the University of Florida. I don't think I've ever seen a better one than that in the 28 years.
This is awesome to beat the Gators. You know, in a game like this, to come out on top, we're very thankful. We can enjoy this for next month going to our bowl game, and I'm just proud of the way the guys played.
5 lead changes, Lee, in the last 8 minutes. 2 long touchdown drives by Ricks and the Nose. You've been very critical of Jeff Bowden at times this year with the play calling.
I have, and also the fact that this ball game particularly, you got to give a lot of credit to Florida State's offensive coordinator, Jeff Bowden. He called some great plays, but the best thing he did was utilize the tight end. You know, before this football game, the tight end had caught 13 passes all year. He hit Matt Henshaw for a touchdown with a great call, and I'm telling you, I think using that tight end, that was the difference between Florida State winning and losing this football game in cliff situations.
You know, and Jeff Bowden and Chris Ricks showed great patience and great poise. Late in the game, Florida took the lead 27-24, and I'm telling you right now, it was electric inside the swamp. The crowd got into the game, and it looked like Florida was on their way to secure a victory with about 8 minutes to go, and Chris Ricks answered inside the 5-yard line to eventually set up a game-winning touchdown here to Carter, the tight end. And this was a team that would not be denied. And when the game was on the line, both teams showed a lot of character. But congratulations to Chris Ricks, who's had to endure so much. And he showed today that he's the Florida State quarterback, not only for the bowl game, but for next year. That was a big drive and a big win for Chris Ricks.
They won't know their bowl status official until next weekend. But with Miami leading, if that holds up, they could be Pasadena bound.
Pasadena.
Or Rose Bowl has shown interest with Bobby Bowden.
Yep.
Yes, the
big
bowl,
time. Miami wins.
That's it from chilly Gainesville. Respect to you guys in the studio.
All right, Chris, you mentioned that Miami game. The Hurricanes taking on Pittsburgh right now. The winner of that game almost certainly will get the BCS bid from the Big East Conference. This is how it got started. Pittsburgh moving, taking advantage of a pass interference call against Larry Fitzgerald. Rutherford hit Chris Wilson there. Panthers went up 7-0. But then Miami just went to those trick plays where they handed off to the running back, go right up the middle and run through the Pittsburgh defense 7-7.
It's easy. Everybody does it. Here, Moss does it again. Right through the Pittsburgh defense. Another score.
Trickeration, time and time again.
Tyrone Moss right up the middle. But you don't want to be boring or anything, so every now and then you got to flip it out. And Jason gathers, Brock Berlin finding him. Nobody home out there for Pittsburgh defense. Guys getting slam knocked all over the place. I'm not sure what happened to Gathers here. He man, the piano locked on his back at about the 20. Pittsburgh able to run him down. Miami scored again 21-7. Hurricanes dominating in the first half thus far. Also in the Big East, West Virginia nearly needed to beat Temple and snowy Morgantown to get a share of the Big East title. And they got started on defense. Adam Pac-Man Jones scooping up the fumble. Scoop score, 47 yards. West Virginia on top, 7-0. Scored on defense. They scored on special teams. Lance Frazier. Punt return, 64 yards. Rich Rodriguez's team ripped off 7 straight wins, 45-28, and they earn a share of the Big East title. Not likely that West Virginia can get close enough to the winner of the Miami-Pittsburgh game to get a BCS bid. And speaking of that Miami-Pittsburgh game, right now, as we showed in the highlights, the Hurricane running game, just unstoppable.
Just unstoppable, and I think that was the whole key to the game going into this game. If you're Pittsburgh, you're Paul Rhodes, the defensive coordinator, you know that you have one thing to do. Tyrone Moss is the running back at Miami. Put 9. If you have to put 10 guys, get them up along the line of scrimmage and shut down the run. If you can't shut down the run, what's happening right now is going to happen to you. Miami is averaging 7.5 yards per play now. If you can run the football, all of a sudden you run the screens. Nobody home. They have Pittsburgh's defense completely on their heels. They're up 21-7, Mark.
Well, it doesn't help their offense when you go to that black hole offense, which means you don't get the ball to the best player in the country, Larry Fitzgerald. Yeah, it's a genius call because you've thrown the ball to the best player in the country twice. The first play, there's a penalty on the Miami defense. You get 1st and goal inside the 5. You score a touchdown. The second play was a 3-yard slant into the dirt. The best player in the nation should touch the ball in this football game at least 15 times, in my opinion. I could be wrong on this, but if I've got the best player in the nation, he's going to touch the rock.
Well, Miami's trying their best to take him away, so Pittsburgh's going to have to find a way to be more creative in order to get the ball to Larry Fitzgerald, or else this game's not going to turn around. Miami's dominating with its running game. A couple of other scores from the Big East. You know what? We should give some props to Greg Schiano and Rutgers. They have turned things around nicely. Rutgers beating Syracuse 5-7. The Scarlet Knights finishing up strong. And Virginia Tech right off the edge of that cliff. Boy, they finish up weak again. Virginia 35-21. Matt Schaub on senior day in Charlottesville turning in a fine performance with over 350 yards passing. We are at halftime in the islands. Alabama got off to a quick start. Hawaii's caught them. We're back after this.
Harmon will try to squib it, and he does. The Bears have to get out of bounds. Rodgers along the sideline, another one. They're still in deep trouble at midfield. They tried to do a couple of... The ball is still loose as they get it to Rodgers. They give it back now to the 30. They're down to the 20. Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. He's going into the end zone. Will it count? The Bears have scored. I have never seen anything like it.
How's it going? Hey, you know, holidays never seem to go quite right. Really? You know, with BestBuy.com, you can shop right from home. Without any hassles.
Get free shipping at our biggest store, BestBuy.com. Thousands of possibilities. Get yours.
Come on, we're gonna be late. What are you doing?
Getting ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the class of 2004.
Recently, a MetLife advisor helped these parents create a financial plan so they'll be ready just in case the next 13 years go as fast as the last 5.
Hi, I'm Howard, the adrenaline regulator here at the factory. I make sure there's a healthy dose of adrenaline in every batch of hockey we turn out. Once in a while, our distributors try to get us to switch to some performance-enhancing pills or shakes. I tell them, look, the only thing we're putting in hockey is adrenaline, and the only thing we're putting in our shakes is ice cream, and sometimes bananas.
The NHL on ESPN. Made in America, delivered on Thursdays.
Back on the Pontiac High Performance halftime report. A friendly reminder, the ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by 989 Sports is underway on Tuesday. Indiana and Wake Forest at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Then Illinois and North Carolina. Talented squad of Roy Williams and his first year as the Tar Heel head coach take on the Fighting Illini. A couple of other scores, TCU 20-13. The Horned Frogs take the Iron Skillet. TCU finishing off an 11-1 season, but Southern Mississippi outright champions of Conference USA after beating East Carolina. The Golden Eagles are on their way to the AXA Liberty Bowl. Boise State finishes off a WAC title by beating Nevada 56-3. Boise State still has a game left against Hawaii, but they have clinched the league crown. And Bowling Green moves into the MAC championship game against Miami, Ohio. They hold off Toledo 31-23. Josh Harris with a fine day for the Falcons. Some bowl news now, and Mark Mangino has Kansas on its way to the Mazda Tangerine Bowl. The Jayhawks go down to Orlando, where they will take on Phillip Rivers and North Carolina State. Great turnaround for Kansas, becoming a bowl-eligible team out of the Big 12 at 6-6. And a Big 12 coach is on the move. Mike Stoops is the new head coach at Arizona, the Oklahoma co-defensive coordinator and associate head coach, taking over the Wildcat program, as was announced today. We talked with Bob Stoops earlier in the day, asked him how he would handle the coaching transition and whether any of his other staff members might be on their way to go with Bob Stoops' brother.
Right now, none of our coaches are planning on leaving or going with Mike or anywhere else. So ends that debate, and we'll adjust with Mike, myself, like I said before, coaching the secondary. Mike will work with us through the Big 12 championship game and then assist us through the bowl game in whatever capacity he can, and we welcome it. So we'll manage. It'll be fine.
Much more of our conversation with Bob Stoops coming up on College Game Day Final, midnight Eastern time or thereabouts, depending on how long Hawaii and Alabama play. You like the move Arizona going with Mike Stoops, Mark?
Yeah, I think he was one of the hot names out there. And let's not forget Chuck Long is also on that staff, the offensive coordinator. That's a name that's been bandied around for a head coaching job. But I'm still going back to my USC. Norm Chow deserves a job, the offensive coordinator at USC. He was also in the running for this job.
I think it's a perfect fit for Arizona, guys. I think the point is this. They realize if you go to the Pac-10 conference, look at Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll went to USC and started recruiting and played defense. Quickly won a conference championship. And Mike Stoops talking to him earlier this season, he just simply feels if he got that job, which he did get, and he recruits and plays defense, he has a shot at the Pac-10 right away.
And Mike Stoops will stay with the Sooners through the Big 12 championship game, and then depending on the Arizona schedule, will come back and assist Oklahoma as much as he can throughout the bowl season. We'll talk more with Bob, College Game Day Final. Back after this.
GTO is coming. Fuel for the soul.
Yeah, things are under control here. Get me a popcorn for dinner. No, popcorn chicken from KFC. It is so not a nugget.
KFC's popcorn chicken is 100% chicken breast. You get an individual for $1.99 or party size for $6.99. You got a KFC what's cooking.
Right now, all Goodyear tires are on sale. That's right, all of them. And when you buy 4 selected Goodyear tires, you get up to $75 cash. So hurry in and pick out a winner.
If your employer offers Hawaii Dental Service as an employee benefit, you'll have plenty to smile about. That's because HDS provides its subscribers with a selection of more dentists than any other dental plan and a caring commitment to service. Hawaii Dental Service.
Because Hawaii loves to smile.
This halftime report is fueled by Pontiac. Vote for this week's ultimate Pontiac high-performance play at ESPN.com/Pontiac.
And back on the Pontiac High Performance Halftime Report, Sunday Night Football on ESPN. Buccaneers trying to get back to 500. Warren Sapp trying to keep the Jaguars down. 8:30 Eastern Time, NFL Prime Time, presented by Miller Lite, 7:30. Get you ready. Notre Dame's not going to the postseason, but boy, are they enjoying the Tyrone Willingham Bowl. 34-0 over Willingham's old team, and they are not yet at halftime. Julius Jones having a huge game. Well, I got to tell you, Big Al's going to have to bow up, or it's going to drag him all over the field. Tied at 14.
Now, your top 5 Pontiac high-performance plays of the NCAA.
Here's your ball game, folks, as Rudy looks, unfortunate deep one for the end zone. Phelan is down there. Oh, he got it! Did he get it? He got it! Touchdown! Favre drops
back to throw. Under pressure, scrambles right. He's going to throw it as far as he can down the field. It is tipped and caught by Tillman. Tillman at the 20. Touchdown, USA!
Colorado just needs a touchdown. Time has run out. Stewart's throwing it to the end zone. The ball's in the air. Caught! Colorado scores! They get it to Rogers. They get it back down to the 30. They're down to the 20. All the bases out on the field. He's looking over the end zone. The Bears have won. The Bears have won.
He's looking for a receiver. He throws downfield and fires.
Get your all-time Pontiac high-performance play at ESPN.com/Pontiac.
FIFA Soccer 2004, rated E for everyone. NCAA Football 2004, rated E for everyone. From EA Sports, now on Engage.
It's where academics count. It's where athletes count. It's where alumni count. Count it all up, and you'll have a crystal clear picture of what we believe, who we are, and what we do. Our purpose, our focus, our passion. We are the Western Athletic Conference, where actions count.
Oh, so close to the beaches of Waikiki here in Honolulu. Aloha Stadium, where it's 14-14. Alabama, Hawaii play really two completely different games. And normally if it's a halftime tie, you say, are they really pretty much like nothing? Mentally, I doubt they are because of what Hawaii was able to overcome in the second quarter.
Just remember yesterday, Dave, when we looked into the eyes of those Hawaii players, and they were passionate. We can't wait to play these guys. We're playing the Alabama tradition. And here's the thing. You got the sense that they were trying to convince themselves that they could play with these guys. Now they know they can play with Alabama. And Alabama's got their hands full, and we got a football game.
Alabama pretty much doing whatever it wanted until Jason Whieldon came in to start the second quarter. And the total yardage ended up almost as even as the scoreboard. Alabama with about a 7-minute edge in time of possession. But remember, in this game last year, it was 40-20 time of possession in favor of Alabama. Rob, what'd you find out at halftime?
Well, Dave, it was Whieldon's play that was on a very focused Mike Shula's mind. He said the screen pass killing us. You know, two big plays, one to a wide receiver, one to running back. We need to still put pressure on the passer, but go under control, and we got to get back to our strength, which we saw in the first quarter, running that football.
Yep, first quarter, everything was as planned for Mike Shula. Second quarter, almost nothing went as planned. The Hawaii defense got such an emotional jolt when they realized that their offense was going to be heard from, that it was just a complete level of domination by the Warriors in that second quarter. They start with the touchback, our ESPN game track. Sean Williams, a dominant performance in the first quarter, scored the first touchdown. And then back came the Warriors behind Whieldon, who had his first 6 passes. 2 scores. That's our Pioneer game track.
Now, Dave, you know that I don't always subscribe to this thing about the first drive of the third quarter, the first 5 minutes of the third quarter. But here's a time when it is really significant, this stage of the game in this situation.
Boyle starting with play action. Almost intercepted. Really should have been. Intended for Triandos Luke. Dropped by Abraham Elamimian, who was the co-leader with 3 for Hawaii. That really should have been his 4th.
Brody Croyle getting pressure. He looks to his primary receiver, not there, and then he tries to invent something, and he loses Elamimian and almost makes the kind of error that could really turn this game for Hawaii early in the third quarter. Elamimian will remember that one the rest of his life.
Elamimian's had an interesting life. Born in Nigeria. On second down, Sean Williams, and that's how it's been for him since that first drive. He broke a 56-yarder early, scored from a yard out. 11 carries, 72 yards for him in the first half. Lance Samuseva, senior from Waianae.
Yep. Sopuanga gets all the attention, 97. They're talking about he's highly recruited and all that, but Samuseva, number 92, just keeps hanging in there making plays. He's the steady guy. He's the guy that the coaches talk about.
Shotgun third and 11, deep ball. Overthrown, and Zach Fletcher had a step. Gary Wright, who went out late in the first half, spent about 5 or 10 minutes down. And the starter ahead of him, Elimimian, with the near interception, and now the near bomb over his head.
Brody Croyle got just what he wanted there. He had man coverage with his tall guy on their short guy. A little bit of an overthrow, but you got to think that if Fletcher had laid out, he might have been able to come down with that thing.
Very high kick, not that deep by Freeland. Wow, Clifton Herbert blasted. Freddie Roach after a 40-yard punt.
Freddie Roach is starting middle linebacker, is not getting to play every snap today the way he's accustomed to, and he likes getting on that punt team, get down there and getting a hit.
Don't like to hear this. Timmy Chang, for everything he's done, does not deserve to hear boos. I don't care if he had a 4th or 13th first half.
That's disgusting. It only takes a few sick people. You got the guy that's going to be the all-time leading passer in the history of college football. You back him every step of the way. In fact, college youngsters, you back them regardless.
Hometown kid. And dropped that one of his better passes. Say Pomele couldn't bring it in, though. Jim Jones indicated to Rob Stone going into the locker room at the half, he thought Whieldon would be the man to start the second half. Well, he's right there with the very best in the country. Phillip Rivers of NC State, Chang, B.J. Simmons of Texas Tech.
Well, it's part of life. You're going to be in the public eye. You're going to catch some heat from wacky people, so you just take it on the chin and keep on plugging. The best thing Timmy Chang can do is to start making completions.
Chad Owens, normally sure-handed, the nation's second leading receiver.
Now, all these people that are booing would say to us, if we got in their face, and I'd love to do that, they'd say, well, we're not booing Timmy. We're booing June Jones because he ought to play the other guy. Wrong. That's not what Timmy hears. He's the guy standing out on the field. He doesn't deserve this, but that's life. That's what goes on. If you're in the public eye, you're not going to always be treated exactly in a fair manner.
Second in the nation in total offense, 2-time all-WAC. Takes off, but only gets about 5 yards out of it.
Alabama being very careful playing zone, especially against Chang. They know he's not having his best day, so they're just dropping back, keeping all the receivers in front of him, making him make throws, and then rallying to the ball on his rare completion. I think June Jones did the right thing. I think you start your main man for the second half and then come back with the other guy. What he doesn't need is a quarterback controversy here at the end of this season.
Well, Whieldon being a senior, there may be an in-game controversy, but fans ought to know they've got Chang for another year. They should be delighted to have him back. They're caught by Brooks, 39-yarder. He is one of the best in the country. He's proven it the last 3 years, and he'll prove it again.
We didn't just give the new Ford F-150 more horsepower. We gave it the most low-end torque. Why did we push farther than anyone else? So you could do more than anyone else. Only this truck earned the right to be the next F-150. If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again.
Me and my best friend went to this party Friday night, so I had to leave. It was just a 10-minute drive away. Thought nothing would go wrong. No big deal. Halfway through the drive, it just happened. We got into the accident. My best friend was killed by a drunk driver. I was a drunk driver.
We could do this.
We can help your dream grow. American Savings Bank.
Alabama has had much the worst of it in field position. Their average drive has started at their 16. This one starts at their 15. Hawaii, on the other hand, averaging taking over at their 33. So the Tides, first possession of the third quarter in a 14-14 tie. Went nowhere, and now right up through the middle goes Ray Hudson, dragging tacklers to the 39-yard line. A gain of 24. Finally, Keani Alapa makes the tackle on Hudson, the junior from Bonifay, Florida.
A familiar power play. It's as old as football itself. With a double team by the big tight end and the tackle, and Jason Smiley, 78, pulling through there, opening up a massive hole for Hudson, who made a couple people miss out to the 40-yard line. Nice blocking. That's why that happened.
Hudson again, he slips at the line of scrimmage. Lost to settle per yard. Here come flags from way back in the secondary. This flag thrown from the sideline, 20 yards away from the tackle. And on Alabama, unsportsmanlike conduct.
See, I don't know if that was a remark or somebody taunting. Oh, it was a good gracious. Just a flat cheap shot in the back. That's personal foul. Good gracious alive. What could he be thinking about?
Vance Taylor, senior. Academic All-SEC. Well, they're trying to explain himself now. This Markov back to the 25-yard line. Alabama's last 9-loss season pre-Bear, 1955. Their worst season in the history of the program, 0-10 that year. But the Bear would be seen to arrive. Incomplete, intended for Triandos Lug, and he is triple covered and slow getting up. The Tide's leading receiver for the second straight year tried to look that one in and got popped pretty hard at the 42-yard line. Senior from Phoenix City, Alabama. 14-14 game, 3 minutes into the third quarter. Alabama led 14-0. Hawaii answered. Just getting started in the second half from Honolulu.
Now Mentos has 70% more, and they come in a box. Go Box!
The Logitech cordless keyboard and mouse. No cords to tie you up, slow you down, or hold you back. Because comfort is a very relative thing. What will you do with all that freedom?
It's not your job.
It's not your accent.
Not your clothes.
It's not your car.
It's not your lipstick.
It's not your friends.
It's not your shoes.
It's not your laugh. It's not your hair.
It's your watch.
You can tell more about a person by the watch they wear than anything else. Seiko Kinetic, powered by the movement of your body.
Available at Whitehall.
A truck like this isn't built in a factory. It's built in the farms and fields, concrete streets and construction sites that map the landscape of an entire country. Because when Ford builds the new F-150, there are promises to keep. And only one truck earned the right to be the next F-150. If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again.
Stuart Scott and the gang recap the NFL weekend and get you ready for Monday Night Football on Monday Night Countdown, delivered by UPS, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN.
ESPN's College Football Saturday, brought to you by Seiko. You can tell more about a person by the watch they wear than anything else. Seiko Arctura Kinetic. And by the next Ford F-150. Built Ford tough.
Trandos Luke, as he turned to look for that last pass, runs right into Hiram Peters. This is an ugly collision, but Luke managed to walk off.
He also saved an interception.
And it's 3rd and 24.
Hiram Peters would have pumped that ball.
Screen pass, dropped by Hudson. Didn't matter much. Even if he makes that catch, he's going nowhere.
Alabama has strong tendencies, one of which is screens and long yardage situations. Pressure by big Isaac Sopoanga. Got a piece of the ball, actually, and that's one of the reasons that Hudson dropped the football.
So again, Bro Freeland on to take it away for Bama. Justin Herbert back at his 32. Warriors play for the return. Good kick this time. Herbert back at his 23. And a return to the 36 of a 52-yard punt down to Rob Stone.
Well, Dave, Coach Curry kind of mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, how impressed he was with this Hawaii team, using the actual word as a team. And it's been very obvious down here on the sideline, especially when you consider the two quarterbacks. I mean, I don't even think Keyshawn Johnson could disrupt this team. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, slapping each other on the hand. Hey, my bad, Timmy, on that drop ball. Whieldon and Chang talking with each other during the timeouts. Both guys have the support of everybody on this team, and it's been obvious, not just the second half, but through that whole first half when Whieldon was smoking hot.
And Chang hears more boos, although if these fans were paying attention, they would have noticed that he had 2 drops on the last series. Mike Bass hangs on to this one. Let's get an update from Reese Davis.
All right, Dave, Miami's been gashing that Pittsburgh defense right up the middle on the ground. So a little play fake from Brock Berlin, and Roscoe Parrish is all by himself. Canes pouring it on, up 28-7 on Pittsburgh, probably on his way to the BCS.
Well, what turned into the big game in the Big East this year was Miami hanging on to defeat West Virginia.
Yeah, and, Pitt said we got to stop the run and make Brock Berlin beat us throwing, but they can't stop the run nor Berlin.
Bass again, and Bass with a burst for the first down. Junior from Corona, California.
Man, if your name was Samson Satelli. Samson Satelli, the left guard, just did a beautiful job. Guy's a freshman. 290 pounds, quick on his feet, number 64. He pulled from the left guard position, kicked out on the left defensive end, and a nice big hole. If Hawaii will be patient with the running game and get Chang on rhythm, when he throws on rhythm, that's when they're the most dangerous.
Those were some confident parents, the Satellis, naming children Samson and Hercules.
Samson, Hercules. And over on the other side, offensive lineman for Alabama, we have Atlas Harrion.
Markov's going to be against the Warriors. Five yards. 1st and 15. Procedure, and they're back at the 42. That one almost picked, and if it's Brought in by Ramsey Robinson. It's 6. It was overthrown, intended for Gerald Welch, and luckily for Chang, it was overthrown.
That's a mistake by Timmy Chang. He's a very experienced quarterback, but not a good read by Timmy that time, because anytime a corner is backed up by a safety, either on the hash or in the deep third, that corner can break on the football. He can break on the outcut, and that's exactly what happened.
Doesn't make too many poor decisions. Bass getting a turn at tailback. Dragged down by the middle linebacker, Freddie Roach. And it'll be 3rd and 12. Well, among the dignitaries, Hawaii's own Jim Neighbors. And you've been holding out on me all these years.
Yep.
You guys are buddies.
Jim's been a buddy
when
for
are you
a lot of
let
years.
us know?
Yeah, we got to know him back when I had a friend named Maxie Bong who played for the Rams, and Jim lived in L.A., and he was very nice to our family. Carried our daughter Kristen around on his shoulders when she was about 2 years old at Disney World.
This was in his Gomer days, right?
In his Gomer days, yeah. He's a wonderful guy and a good friend to all of us.
Chang, plenty of time. Confusion on the pattern. He throws it out. 2 receivers are over there. They both turn in. Maybe the receivers should be getting the boos.
Now, we stood for an hour and a half yesterday, Dave, and I told you June Jones conducts the most vigorous Friday practices I've ever seen in college football or NFL football. They worked on every route, every detail, and yet there is confusion. Part of it, you got to give Alabama credit. Joe Kynes has a nice plan. Extra DBs in the act. But 2 receivers standing in the same place at the end of that, and nobody near the football.
Milnes had a good afternoon. Had one killed at the 2. This one's going to be inside the 5 as well. Down at the 3. 51 yards. Mill having a career day, and it's now a career day for Rob Stone because he gets to talk to Jim Neighbors.
Yeah, golly, guess who I just caught up with? All right, Jim, now give us your best Coach Curry story you got for us.
Oh, golly, I met Bill when he was, one of his best friends was Maxie Bond, and I remember he was on the Colts, and Maxie was playing for the Rams, and they clashed, and they lived next door to each other.
He's still feeling the effects of it, I think.
So.
No, what happened is in Maxie, they had an interception, the Rams did, and Maxie was holding me, and I kicked him. And Jim was there to sing the national anthem.
From his end zone, pump fake. Hit for a safety. Lance Samuseva gives the Warriors their first lead.
Now, we talked about earlier that a good idea is to drop back and put it up. And when you see this move by the big man, Samuseva, all you can say is, golly. Good gracious.
Oh, you can
Actually,
see it's 2 points.
Protection was long enough, but the route was jammed. The corner did a marvelous job, and they had 2 deep coverage. The hard corner got a hit on the wide receiver. There was nothing there. It was a pump and go, and Brody had nothing else to do with the football. Had he thrown it away, it would have still been a safety if it had been called intentional grounding. Let's take a look at the protection. See, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got plenty of time to throw. The linebacker actually forced him out.
Alapa.
Good job. Yeah. Keani Alapa is the one that forced him into the big man, Samuseva, for the safety. Nobody needs to tell anybody that that was a huge play. Now, the thing about a safety, you don't just give up 2 points, you give up the football, and you usually give up very good field position. Alabama's going to do the unusual here and place kick rather than punt.
Samuseva has had 4 uncles play at the University of Hawaii, including best known Al Noga.
Ooh, big Al Noga. He's a force.
And a long NFL career. So he gives the Warriors a 16-14 lead with a safety, 9:23 of the third quarter. Kyle Robinson has it teed up at the 20. Normally the free kick is a punt. This one on the 15. John West on the return. And he gets the corner turn to the 44-yard line. Knocked out by Chris James. It's a lot like it was in the second quarter, Bill. The momentum swing right now is palpable inside Aloha Stadium.
Yeah, you can feel it, and Hawaii has the football on the 44-yard line. The most important thing in football, well, probably is teamwork. But in terms of tactics, the most important thing is ball security. The second most important thing is field position. And when you start drives near midfield, you've got a marvelous chance to go score points. And that's exactly what this Warrior team needs to do.
And I think we just heard something that's encouraging. I think we just heard the cheers trying to drown out the boo birds.
Yeah, Chang's not thinking about boos.
Chang continues to struggle. Hits a tough scrambling pass near midfield. Britton Komine makes his first catch.
The one thing that the Hawaiian offensive staff feared was that the defensive front for Alabama would be too strong and too quick for their pass protectors. That has not been a major problem today. Chang and Whieldon's orders are to take no sacks. Get rid of the football. But if Alabama's front four can start to apply the pressure and turn it up a notch, now they're going to rush with three again, it would appear.
Matter of fact, what used to be the most obvious problem for the run and shoot, June Jones seems to have solved, and that is how to protect the quarterback. Chang, extremely well protected here, but it's going to be overthrown, intended for Komine. You think back to the University of Houston run and shoot teams of Jack Pardee and then later John Jenkins, late 80s, early 90s. The Houston Oiler run and shoot teams with Warren Moon. Quarterbacks used to get absolutely pounded play after play after play, and somewhere in the last 10 years, June Jones has come up with some different pass protection schemes. So different, in fact, that when he goes to clinics, he's happy to talk about pass route running. He's happy to talk about how he works with quarterbacks, but that's his trade secret. He does not like to talk about what he's come up with in terms of protecting the quarterback. It's been such an improved aspect of his run and shoot. He'd like to keep it to himself. That short toss to Michael Brewster, knocked back immediately by Derek Pope.
Well, you're right, Dave. He's come up with a couple of ideas that help, especially utilizing the back and some flare control, but you still end up in the final analysis that somebody's going to be one-on-one, and you've got to be able to pass protect a great pass rusher long enough to get the ball thrown, and they've been very successful. Did you tell me that they're like one sack out of every 37 passes this year, something like that?
And a couple of years ago, it was one every 65 passes.
That's superb protection.
Let's see if Milne can uncork another masterpiece. Looks like he's done it again. Brooks, for some reason, didn't fair catch that one, even though he had people bearing down on him at the 10. It's a 43-yard kick, one on the return, but a marker back at the line of scrimmage. Well, Whieldon, the MVP for Hawaii, but Milne would be a close second. And this will be face mask Warriors. I would think Alabama's going to want to take a crack at better starting field position. Yep. Their average drive has started at their 15. Hawaii's has started at their 34. Hidden yardage, 19 yards per possession. And this is the big face mask.
Yep, this is a serious one. The 15-yarder, as it should be. Nice artwork. That's not native Hawaiian vintage, is it?
No, unfortunately, we see that pretty much everywhere now.
Oh, the Hawaiian players are now indicating the fouls on Alabama. That would be huge. Alabama coaching staffs coming out on the field to assist. That will not be appreciated by the WAC officials.
And it is. First indication was wrong, and Rich Colin, the referee, corrects it now. 15-yarder against the Tide. Personal foul, face mask. So the offense getting their helmets back on.
There's another thing that may be in the back of June Jones' mind. Starting Timmy Chang in the third quarter, you take your great player, you give him a chance to take back over, prove that he can be sharp today. And if he doesn't, then you put your guy Whieldon back in there, and there'll be a huge emotional burst when that happens, if indeed it does.
Well, right now it's Chang in the discussion with Jones on the sideline. See if we can pick up the face mask. Remember the flag back at the line of scrimmage, hard to pick it up from that deep an angle.
I never saw it. It looked like maybe at the line of scrimmage, number 55 for Alabama got the face mask, but it wouldn't have been to Terrence Jones.
Warriors from the 37. Another well-thrown ball, and here comes the flag again. Herbert had Charles Jones crawling up his back.
That's going to be pass interference on Jones.
Boy, two back-to-back flags really hurting Joe Kynes and the Alabama defensive staff.
Looked like maybe Terrence Jones, number 55, got a hold of the face mask in his attempt to make a block back there.
Good call.
Just a shade early.
Senior free safety Jones with the flag. 1st and 10, 32 of Alabama. 8 Tide penalties. Chang looking deep. End zone and overthrown. Double coverage going for Jeremiah Cochran.
He's just not setting his foot and following through properly. This is a ball that he should loft. He makes all the throws, but not today. You need to put a little more air under that thing.
$15 more yards. Now watch 55 here. We're thinking that Terrence Jones right there guilty of the face mask. The first 15-yard penalty. And now another 15-yard personal foul will move the ball to the 17. Alabama is beating Alabama right now. Hawaii is just accepting these gifts, flag after flag. 3 in the last 4 snaps, 9 for the game. Chad Owens in motion. Chang bobbling before he can finally get it on the handoff to Owens, and he'll do well if he gets close to the line of scrimmage.
Chang was surprised by the velocity of the snap there. That was a mistake by the center, Derek Fa'avi. And it's just not a good day so far for Timmy Chang. He barely got control of the football for the handoff, and then they were immediately nailed in the backfield.
It is a loss of 1, 2nd and 11.
Mark Anderson on the play, number 47 for Alabama.
3-man rush for the Tide. Incomplete, bounced. Intended for Bominade. Even with just a 3-man rush, Anthony Bryant was able to get to Chang.
He's been able to stand back there pretty much protected until now. Anthony Bryant on the 3-man breaks right through the double team. Eaton and Moanoa simply couldn't contain the big guy, and he is a big guy. 335, 6'3".
He can dunk. 6'3", 345, and can dunk a basketball.
No, he's only 335, Dave. That's why he can dunk.
Oh, okay. That explains it. Only 1 of 9 Hawaii, normally a very dangerous third down team. 42% coming in. Their first time out, 6:31 to go, third quarter, and a golden chance to add to a 2-point lead.
The 2004 ESPN Sports Almanac, a perfect holiday gift.
In 2002, Ford won 14 Cup races.
And at the end of the season, 7 of the top 10 cars were Fords.
In fact, Ford was the first to win 500 Cup races.
Victories that brought Ford 15 manufacturers' championships.
That makes Ford the team to watch.
If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again.
Disciplined investing. At T. Rowe Price, it's not just about the short term. It's about a steady, long-term approach. Over 75% of our mutual funds beat their 3, 5, and 10-year Lipper averages. A disciplined, long-term approach. Low-cost mutual funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Men don't like to shave. They'd rather light their shorts on fire or eat dirt. Easy, fellas. Nivea soothes the pain of shaving. With moisturizers and vitamins, Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm soothes and improves. Nivea for Men, more evolved skincare.
Taco Bell's fajita grilled stuffed burrito. Sizzling marinated carne asada steak and tasty fajita veggies. Wrapped and grilled to go.
Should have gotten fajitas.
Ooh, fajitas.
Nothing beats the sizzle when you think outside the bun.
He's got him fired up in the stands. Alabama's been guilty of 3 penalties for 35 yards on this drive, but they have a 3rd and 11. Hawaii from the 18-yard line. Another 3-man rush. Chang overthrowing an open Cochran. And again has to pick himself up off the turf, but he had an open man. He had an easy touchdown. He's consistently overthrown any pass 15 yards or deeper today.
The run and shoot is an offense of timing and angles. Very fine details that are simply missing now. We don't know if that's on Cochran or on Chang, but the ball was overthrown. Either Cochran needed to run the skinnier post or Chang needed to bring it in more.
Nolan Miranda blocked and returned by Roman Harper. Harper is going to bring this one back all the way for Alabama. A 72-yard return. Anthony Madison blocks it. Roman Harper, the sophomore safety from Prattville, puts Alabama back on top.
When you deal with superior athletic talent on the opposing squad, your margin of error is reduced. Little things like angles, field goal protection become critically important. Madison came off the corner, got a piece of it. Harper picked it off, and there was nobody on the Hawaii squad that could catch it.
Boy, just like that, with Bostic's extra point, Alabama back in charge. 3 major penalties. Looks as if Hawaii's going to go up at least by 5. And instead, Madison with the block, Harper with the return, Alabama with the lead.
Disciplined investing. It's not about following the crowd. At T. Rowe Price, our independent research means we're not deceived by every market ripple, and we don't chase every fad. Over 75% of our mutual funds beat their 3, 5, and 10-year Lipper averages. We have the experience to know what works and the insight to find real opportunity. Low-cost mutual funds from T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
This holiday season, give your someone special something they'll actually remember in June. Give your dad more than a grill. Give him family get-togethers all summer. At the Home Depot, we're more than a store. We're your home for holiday inspiration with hundreds of unique and unexpected gift ideas. Shop early for the best selection. This weekend only, get a 12-gallon rigid wet dry vac for just $39.97 and this Ryobi 3-piece combo kit for just $99. Give something that lasts all year. The Home Depot. You can do it. We can help.
Well, they're going with officially 73 yards on the return by Roman Harper of Anthony Madison's block field goal.
Here's the mistake right here. The wingback needed to get a shot on Madison with his left hand. He completely missed. He whiffed. Madison got the angle, was able to lay out and get the football. Harper was there to pick it off. That's his job. Harper's the contain man on the other side, and any kind of ball that bounces over there, comes up in the air, his job is to pick it up, catch it, and run for a touchdown if he can, and that's exactly what happened. That's a play that's practiced.
Kyle Robinson. West returns to the 26. Hawaii has had some inconsistency in the kicking game. Justin Ayat replaced by Miranda last week. And it's Miranda who gets that kick blocked. Now we'll see if Whieldon will come on for the still ineffective Timmy Chang. It would appear so. And a standing ovation greeting Whieldon because he turned this thing around when he came in the second quarter. Chang struggling 4 for 13 at that point. Alabama leading 14-0. Whieldon hit his first 6. He had 8 of 11 for 132 yards and both Hawaii touchdowns to tie it at the half at 14. Chang has gone for the entire third quarter until now. Deep ball, 2-man down there. Cochran brings it in. Now they say incomplete.
3-deep coverage. It was a nice throw, but it was thrown right into coverage, and it's a ball that should be either batted down or intercepted. Good job of coverage. Charlie Pepper on the outside shoulder, but he knows he has inside help, so he just hangs outside and then pops the ball out of his hands.
2 receivers are not supposed to be that close.
Well, they were running 4 verticals is what they were doing. He was reading the free safety. Free safety backed off, and he went toward Pepper's guy. Pepper stayed close enough that he could come over the top and pull the ball out. It's a nice throw.
They were just a couple of yards away from Cochran. Shovel pass and a tough catch is brought in. Anytime you got a guy the size of Dominic Lee on your back, how can you concentrate on the ball? But despite Lee, Brewster was able to hang on here.
Dominic Lee's a true freshman from Birmingham. They just keep rolling those great big defensive linemen. Hawaii's got a couple of them, but they only got a couple. Alabama just rolling them one after another. They grind you down with depth. Chris Harrison there at end now, number 91.
Very un-Hawaii-like, 10% on third downs. Whieldon with whistles before the snap. This the very same score as last year, the first meeting ever between Alabama and Hawaii, and they didn't get the snap off in time.
And if they had, Naughton McKay Loescher, number 90, was already well on his way to the QB.
21-16 last year, as it turned out, in what will be the twilight of Dennis Franchione's Alabama coaching tenure at Alabama.
Joe Kynes continuing to force these quarterbacks to throw into 8-man coverage with a 3-man rush.
And pretty often the 3-man rush is getting to the quarterback. Should have been intercepted. Derek Pope right through his hands.
So they got 6 DBs. They got 2 outside linebackers, Pope and D'Amico Ryans in the game. Or they have Ryans and Garth in the game, number 42. And the 6 DBs, and that's a lot of fast people flying around and not very much place to throw the football, even if you do protect it.
So no miracles this first series of the third quarter from Whieldon. Milled on to kick. Tide haven't really gone after Milne yet. They don't here either. Low end-over-end job. Still gets a good bounce out of it. Brandon Brooks. Sandwiched at midfield. A 43-yard punt and a 16-yard return. A strong Samoan flavor again this year to the Hawaii football program. And a look inside the Samoan influence when we come back to Honolulu.
Men don't like to shave. It hurts. What with the stinging, the redness, the pain. They'd rather do other things like light their shorts on fire or eat dirt. Easy, fellas. Nivea soothes the pain of shaving. Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm has moisturizers and vitamins to soothe and actually improve your skin. Hey, look at you. Now that wasn't so bad. Nivea for Men, more evolved skincare.
Ready?
Tonight on ABC, Miami battles Pitt and Heisman candidate Larry Fitzgerald in the BCS Spotlight Game of the Week, presented by ADT.
College football fans, Singular Wireless gives you a chance to win a trip to a BCS game or thousands of prizes. With your Singular Wireless phone, send a text message to 4263 and play the Singular Text Challenge. Or log on to ESPN.com/Singular. Enter now.
And welcome back to Honolulu. We love some of the recruiting stories we've heard from Hawaii. Some of the staff went down to American Samoa a couple of years ago, and they're driving around, and they see a volleyball game being played just on the street, and they see this one incredibly huge, athletic, agile specimen. They say, this guy is good. Maybe he might play football. So they find out, asking around, hey, who is this guy? What's his name? They find out his name. They find out, all right, what high school does he go to? They find out his high school. Go talk to the coaches. It's Isaac Sopoanga. And that's when the recruiting story gets interesting.
So there's obviously more to it. We'll tell us the rest of the story after the run by Sean Williams on first down.
Well, Dave, Isaac had problems passing what they call the ELI. It's basically an English language test. So it's basically came to the point where he could not go to Hawaii, but he had to go to junior college. You told us earlier in the game the success he had, all the colleges came around, but again, he couldn't pass that ELI. June Jones stepped up for him and called his old friend, Pat Bowlen at the Denver Broncos, and said, listen, we have this talent who is an amazing kid who can play in the NFL. You need to pick him up in a supplemental draft. Broncos sent scouts. They agreed, but then he passed the test and said, I'm only going to play for June Jones because he stuck by me in the beginning and at the end, and that's why he's here in Hawaii, not at some of those other quote-unquote big-name college football programs.
Williams for the first down, and he was recruited by big-time programs. Florida State, Kansas State, Nebraska, Texas A&M, Washington State. This is where he wanted to come, and that's who he wanted to play for. And American football, very big, we're told, in Pongo Pongo.
Yeah, he
if
said
you don't have ESPN on, you are in trouble.
You have got to have ESPN. It's the only time he got animated. He's a very laconic, very laid-back guy in conversation. But when we mentioned ESPN, he said, oh, yeah, man, everybody's got to have it.
Alabama trying to take advantage of some rare good field position. Third straight carry by Sean Williams to the 33.
You guys are talking about how strong the football there is in America Samoa. They estimate 3 to 10 Division I capable players come out of there a year. And, you know, in years past, it used to be pretty much just a Utah, Arizona, and Hawaii that would get there. But now you see a lot of other programs sneaking in. But Hawaii wants to make that kind of their local recruiting corner. And I'll tell you after this play, one of the ways they're kind of doing that.
Well, just for comparison's sake, a couple of weeks ago, we're at West Virginia. Rich Rodriguez says they may only produce 3 Division I recruits a year. Williams up tempo and fumble, and the Warriors recover. It bounced right along the sideline and up into the hands of Abraham Elimimian. David Gilmore with the hit, separating the ball from Sean Williams.
Pango or Pongo? Do you know?
If I'm not mistaken, Dave, that's the first turnover in this football game.
It is.
The first turnover today. Nice job of just punching that football out. David Gilmore, they call him Happy. And the Happy Man He's celebrating now, especially if the offense can do something with this. They are starting deep in their territory. Aluminium came up with the ball. Starting at their 14.
Whieldon not able to move it last series, his first series of the second half. Bama sticking with the three-man rush. Whieldon had that ball deflected as it was leaving his hand. Back down to Rob.
All right, so again, it's the power of television, right? We work for ESPN. We're well aware of that, but Hawaii games televised on ESPN. Unfortunately, we can't do every one of their games, but they are televised back to American Samoa. So that's a great recruiting tool. But the games that aren't televised, how about this? Hawaii cut a deal with Hawaiian Airlines. Every Monday, tapes of their games are put on the 5-hour direct flight to the capital. Say it with me. Pongo Pongo.
Go Pongo.
Yeah, and once there, they air throughout the week on Samoan TV. And June Jones admitted yesterday it has really helped their recruiting tremendously.
Well, yeah, I'm still strongly in favor of us televising every Hawaii game. I can't quite get that approved.
Who do you think should be the crew for their home game?
Would volunteer. You would too. Komine, the 18. Roman Harper on the tackle. Well, if there's any more even close to Isaac Sopoanga's size and ability, and we know there are because, as Rob mentioned, the Utah program, especially for the last several years under Ron McBride, has been very effective at bringing in the Samoan talent. Not a secret anymore. Samoa, by the way, is about a 4-hour plane trip, so it's about like flying from LA. Another deflected ball, and Alabama continues to have pretty consistent success with the three-man rush.
Yeah, I think Joe Kine's plan is really working. This Hawaii team's gained about 270 yards. They had 267 starting this drive. They got maybe 4 or 5 yards here. They average 489 yards in a normal offensive day. So they are really being held well below their average, and they are being challenged by a lot of athletic ability. And I think Joe Kine's, the defensive coordinator, had a good plan. Clearly.
So even after the quarterback change, no change in Alabama's defensive effectiveness here in the second half. They force another Kurt Milne punt, and they go after him, and they get it. Recovered and fumbled again, and still loose at the 22-yard line. Alabama gets the block by Chris James, and that is his specialty. He had blocked 3 punts already. He is the first Crimson Tide player ever to block 3, and now he's the first ever to block 4 in one season.
What you tell your fullback is you don't let this guy cross your face. Okay, you got your up back here, the fullback right there. Chris James is able to get across his face, and he just takes the ball off the punter's foot. He doesn't dive into the punter or toward the punter. He goes at a depth of 9 yards where the ball is leaving the punter's foot, and that is why he blocked it. A lot of times blockers look like they're close, and they really aren't. Chris James has a knack for taking it off the punter's foot and not hitting the punter.
Breaks his own record. 4 is a good career. 4 in a season, unheard of. Ray Hudson inside the 15.
Mistakes in the kicking game, a blocked field goal, a blocked punt, make all the difference in the game of football virtually any time they occur.
Really sense now Alabama's opportunity to take charge of this game. Sean Williams had charge of it early, 57 on that first drive, 56 on 1 carry. Since then, just 33 and the game's first turnover. Royal stumbles as he backs out from center.
Now, offensive linemen and quarterbacks have a really, and the fancy word is symbiotic, a working relationship. They have to work together in perfection. The quarterback has to get his feet out of the way of the offensive lineman. The first step of the quarterback should be to pull his right foot back here. He knows the right guard is going to pull. Well, 73, Dennis Alexander Wasn't pulling, he just got knocked in the backfield. And you got to put that on Alexander. He shouldn't be stepping back there and getting knocked back, stepping on his quarterback's lap.
That's how Eli Manning's last-ditch bid for Ole Miss ended last week against LSU. Boyle feeling the heat. They've got it. Hernan with the sack, the leading tackler for the Warrior defense.
Now, that looks like a poor play by Brody Coyle. He had plenty of time to throw the football. He took the sack, but he's thinking we got a 5-point lead. This is a crucial field goal. In a game like this, your 8-point lead is a whole lot better than that 5.
Same score as last year between these two. Through 3, Alabama 21, Hawaii 16.
And push us around, baby. It's Warrior, baby. Warrior. Yeah, America. Take it up.
Later on SportsCenter, the role the SEC will play in deciding the BCS championship game, what the Yankees will do to trump the Red Sox, and the Patriots' secret weapon to stop Peyton Manning. SportsCenter after the game.
He brought down the beast. Can Remy Bonjeski survive the 8-man single elimination tournament? ESPN Pay-Per-View presents the 2003 K1 World Championship, December 6th. To order, call your cable company, DirecTV or Dish Network.
You know, you could do the most successful surgery in the world, but without a team of therapists to help you, you won't get the results that you want. One of the best things for me about working for Kaiser Permanente has been working with an outstanding group of professionals, and everybody is really working towards that same goal, all contributing to make that patient as good as the patient can possibly be. What I want is to be able to take care of patients the way I'd like to be taking care of myself.
Kaiser Permanente, caring for Hawaii's people like family.
From mainland mills to Hawaii's homes, Hardware Hawaii delivers the building solutions you need. Whether it's a weekend project or a housing project, Hardware Hawaii provides the quality you demand at prices that fit your budget. With 3 locations to serve you, each designed to get you in, get what you need, and get you back to work.
Hardware Hawaii Ace. Just come on in.
Hardware Hawaii.
Fourth quarter now from Aloha Stadium. Dave Barnett, Bill Curry, and Rob Stone. 21-16 Alabama.
Big factor here in the fourth quarter, Dave, is going to be conditioning. It is a very humid day. Both these squads work in the heat all the time. You would expect they would both be in good shape. This is a crucial field goal attempt, trying to go from a 5-point lead to an 8-point.
It will be 40 yards. Ryan Bostic, 16 to 24 for the year coming in. Over the high snap. And the kick is no good. Hold it. To the studio and Reese Davis.
All right, Dave, this news just now coming in. The Lincoln Journal-Star is reporting that Nebraska head football coach Frank Solich has been fired. Athletic director Steve Peterson told Solich apparently that he wanted to go in a different direction. Solich has been the head coach at Nebraska for 6 seasons, 58-19 his record, including a 9-3 record this year after a 7-7 campaign. But Frank Solich out as head coach at Nebraska.
And the further reports we've had from Nebraska involve Pittsburgh head coach Walt Harris, a natural because of his association with athletic director Steve Peterson, who went to Nebraska from Pittsburgh. Brewster on the carry to the 34-yard line. Of course, Pittsburgh's season far from over, but that is what Nebraska sources had indicated the last week or so, that after the Colorado game, Solich would be out, then they would turn their attentions toward Walt Harris. Pioneer game track. Defensive play of the third quarter, the safety. Royal tackle in the end zone. Couple of block kicks. Chris James with his school record 4th of the season. Whieldon very lucky that Pepra went for the bat down instead of the catch. If he makes that catch, stays on his feet, it's a 45-yard touchdown. But he doesn't look to do anything but bat this ball down.
Just basic reads are being misread by the quarterbacks for Hawaii. Pepra had a safety behind him, which means he's going to break on the outcut. He's got a safety lined up behind him. He can break on the outcut if he's got a safety on the hash. You don't throw the outcut when that's the case.
Whieldon. Great catch by Owens for the first down at the 48. Not that great a pass. Chad Owens, the number 2 receiver in the country, hauls it in with a full layout, 18 yards worth.
Chad Owens, 14 catches a week ago against Army. He's the inside receiver. He's going to come across on the dig. It's man coverage, and he just outruns the Will linebacker, Juwan Garth. And the throw was away from the defender, so it was a good throw as long as it was a catch.
Jim Jones comparing him in terms of quickness, not necessarily out-and-out speed, to Ashley LeLay, the All-American now in the NFL. The highest compliment you can make. Cochran holds that one in. Touchdown. However, he may have run out of bounds and then come back. One official doesn't see it. I think the other does, and this will come back. Looked like he ran out of bounds around the 18-yard line.
If you run out of bounds on your own steam, you are not allowed to come back in bounds and be the first player to touch the ball. Wow. If you are bumped out of bounds and you come back in as quickly as possible, then you are allowed to make the catch.
Watch the right of your screen now, Jeremiah Cochran.
If he's bumped out of bounds, in the judgment of the official, Pepper must have pushed him out of bounds. He came back in as quickly as possible, and in that case, he is eligible to catch the football. If he ran out under his own steam and then came back in, then he would only be allowed to touch it after the opposing team had touched
it. 22-21 Warriors as they line up for the try for 2. Alabama well remembers Cochran from this game last year. 9 catches, a career game, 207 yards. Michael Brewster stretches and got it. 3-point lead for Hawaii. And the Whieldon magic returns. But again, on the touchdown play, foot appears to be on the line. They ruled if he was out of bounds, it wasn't his fault. 47-yard touchdown, plus the 2. 24-21 Warriors.
Where does reality end and pure vision begin? A Pioneer plasma display can deliver more than 1 billion colors, taking high-definition television to a whole new level. Pure vision. Only from Pioneer.
After the measurement, we have 4th in inches. Actually, spotting the ball is kind of an inexact science. It's probably more like that. But where's the drama in that? The fact you're changing channels. With this, drama. Changing channels. Drama. America loves drama.
Jason Whieldon to Jeremiah Cochran for 47 yards. Look at another angle now and see if this makes it more apparent that he was out of bounds, and if so, was it because of Pepper's hit right there?
In the judgment of the officials, that hit forced him onto the sideline where his foot touched the boundary. And there's the foot out of bounds. You see it right there. And it was ruled a legal catch, and it was a good call. And let's give a little credit to Jason Whieldon, who made a perfect throw. It's the first deep ball we've seen from Hawaii today thrown well.
kicking the throw. Ripped up at the 18. Tuesday night, ESPN's coverage of the ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by 989 Sports begins with a doubleheader. 7 Eastern, Indiana, Wake Forest. Then at 9, Illinois, North Carolina, number 12 and number 10. That one also available on ESPN HD. Now available nationwide. Call your cable operator, DirecTV, or the Dish Network. The ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by 989 Sports on ESPN. So early in the fourth quarter, a back and forth second half. And again, it is up to Alabama to overcome the momentum shift. Coyle, swing pass, nobody picks up Sean Williams. And finally run out of bounds after a gain of 18. Sean Williams has not had much in terms of the running game luck that he had on the first series, but still a very dangerous pass-catching weapon. 160 yards against the Hawaii defense in this game a year ago.
You know, whatever you say about coming to Hawaii to play football, you don't think you're going to come over here for a serious gut check, but that's what the Crimson Tide's got on their hands. A serious gut check.
Williams came in tonight needing 209 to the single-season rushing record held by Bobby Humphrey. And to the 40, let's check in again with Reese Davis.
Dave, probably too little too late for Pittsburgh and Larry Fitzgerald, down 28-7 to Miami. But Fitzgerald, he hasn't seen the ball come his way much tonight, catches a touchdown pass. That's 18 straight games with a touchdown catch. 28-14 to score.
I think you knew he'd get one. Probably not going to have any say in the eventual outcome, though. He is still the best college football player I've seen, not just this year, and I don't know how long. Whether that's worth a Heisman, we'll find out. Boyle, intercepted by Aluminium. Second turnover. Aluminians had a hand in both. Fourth pick of the year to lead the Warriors.
Brody Croyle simply not looking off. Of course, that's not such a big factor when you're in man coverage, and that's what this is. Aluminium's on his back hip, sees the throw coming all the way, breaks inside and plucks it. We got him for 9 tackles unofficially, a fumble recovery, and interception. Aluminium having a career game himself, Dave.
And that just one play after the first completion of the half by Brody Croyle. Quarterback draw. Whieldon trips after a gain of 1.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. I love you, Dad. Number 4.
Don't have to remind Abraham where he is on the stat sheet. The Hawaii Bowl last year against Tulane, 2 blocked field goals. A big game, big play knack for Abraham. We've seen it again here tonight. Turns it back over to his offense. Great field position with a 3-point lead. Early in the 4th. Second down and 8. Another quarterback draw. Whieldon knocked backwards. Most emphatically, Derek Pope and Anthony Bryant waiting for him at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 8.
As these Hawaii players begin to taste the possibility that they might actually pull this off, remember what we said before we played this game, before it kicked off. These guys are not just playing against this Alabama team, they're playing against the Alabama tradition. They want to be a part of this, and they want a victory against this great Alabama tradition. And that's how they're playing.
They don't care about 4 and 8. All they care about is that is the Crimson Tide out there. 1 for 12 on 3rd down. They would have had this one if Komine had not reversed his field. Now we'll see where they give him progress, and I think they're going to mark him a yard short.
And when you think about the small details that June Jones covers so thoroughly with his receivers, you would think that would be one of them. Know where the down marker is.
Got the first down until now, and he gets a little greedy. Who just catches it and falls forward. That's all they needed. Whieldon knew it. Well, again, they'll call on the powerful, accurate leg of Kurt Milne. He has been deadly all afternoon. Here's another one. Nose down spiral with the Hawaii bounce. He has been uncanny. And the previously injured Gary Wright hustles down to down this one after a 44-yarder at the 4-yard line.
He's got that sand wedge working, doesn't he? Gracious, you know why that works, though? He's turning every one of these balls over. That's so difficult for punters. He's just having one of those days where he's hitting the sweet spot every time. It turns over, and when that nose goes down, you got a chance to get it bounced straight up in the air.
8 kicks, 42.4 average. That doesn't begin to tell the story. Alabama again pinned inside its 5.
Yeah, things are under control here. Yeah, we had popcorn for dinner. No, popcorn chicken from KFC. It is so not a nugget.
KFC's popcorn chicken is 100% chicken breast. To get an individual for $1.99 or party size for $6.99, you got a KFC What's Cooking.
Crest Spin Brush. The superior clean makes it one holiday gift that's actually good for your family. Crest Spin Brush, a better spin on clean.
ESPN's X Games 9 includes tons of behind-the-scenes footage with your favorite action sports athletes. See X Games 9 through their eyes. Get Inside X.
Here's your November Oceanic Kupa'a card discounts. Call or book online at pandaonline.com to fly from Honolulu to Las Vegas from just $389 round trip. Also receive 1,000 bonus miles and a dinner certificate from Malibu Chance. Make your next stop at Zippy's on Mondays and Tuesdays only for the buy one chili frank and rice plate. Get the second one at half price offer. And Aloha Airlines will save you 10% off Trans-Pacific and inter-island flights. Call your travel agent or Aloha Airlines with your Kupa'a card number for reservations.
It's the June Jones Show. Game highlights, analysis, our Warrior of the Week, an all-access pass, a Warrior to remember. The June Jones Show, Sundays at 6:30 and 10:30, only on OC 16.
11 p.m. on the East Coast, 8 p.m. on the Pacific Coast, 6 p.m. here in Honolulu. 24-21 Warriors. Lou Barnett, Bill Curry, Rob Stone. 10:38 to go. And the Tide back up to their 4 after another terrific punt by Kurt Milne. No gain for Ray Hudson. The BCS standings are brought to you by Allstate. Watching this one very closely, USC, which owns a win over Hawaii, and LSU, which owns a win over Alabama. Depending on who wins, someone's schedule will look a little better for it among those two, still hoping that they will get the chance to meet Oklahoma in the Sugar.
But the effect would just be from about 0.25 to 0.40 points, so it
not that much.
Would not swing the balance between either of them.
Second down and 10. Another run up the middle. Hudson spun down at the 1. This Hawaii defense could not be more fired up unless they were that guy.
Well, I think Chad Kalili-Moku is fired up. That middle linebacker running through on the power play that Alabama's run so many times. And after a while, the linebackers get a feel for these things. And there is a crease there. And if you can hit it inside the big tackle, and the tackle and the tight end are a double teaming, you can nail them in the backfield. And that's just what Chad did. 3rd and long now.
Alabama with only 68 total yards this half. Throwing from his end zone. Boyle looks for the deep ball to Gray Fulgham. Overthrown. Running with him, stride for stride, Abraham Elimimian, who has an interception and a fumble recovery this half.
Elimimian is a guy that has not only played well recently, but he's become a team leader. He's a guy that the others look to. When he makes a big play, you can feel it in the body language of his squad. Young Mike Shula getting yet another important lesson as a head coach.
And remember, Bo Freeland dropped a snap in the first half.
But he won't drop this one.
Back quite all the way up against the end line. He doesn't have the full 15 yards to work with. They don't come after him. Chad Owens. And Hawaii will start at the 28-yard line after a 41-yard kick is returned 15. Rob Stone is with, for my money, college football's top mascot, Rob.
That's right. It's Veely the Warrior, my long-lost brother. All right, Veely, take me through the wardrobe you got here. We got some black paint, which symbolizes what?
A war, baby. No one come into our house and push us around, baby. Alabama last year, but this year, not this time, baby. It's warrior time.
What he means to say is the black paint symbolizes war when they would put it on their bodies when they would go to war. Flex those pecs, we'll talk to you more in a second.
All right, baby.
Be careful, Rob.
Whieldon feeling some heat, steps up, gets about 2. Rob, please continue.
Yeah, Veely's hey, Veely, hold on. Come back here, big man. Yeah, we're not done with you yet.
Okay.
Take me through this bone. It came from
From the wild bull. From the wild boy, yeah.
Okay. And the dress, this goes back generations.
Yeah, you know, my outfit represents all Polynesia. Hawaii, Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, Tahitian, and all the other islands, New Zealand. That's what we all about. We all one heart, one beat, baby.
I want to party with this guy, man.
Hey, Rob,
bring it on.
See if you can headbutt him, Rob.
Coach, why are you doing that to me? Because you know I'll do it.
2 of you together, forget it. Michael Brewster, not quite enough for the first. It'll be 3rd and 1.
I just want him on my side. But back to the football game. Real important here. Hawaii has come out running the football, which is very smart.
It's warrior time. It's Billy the Warrior time.
Billy the Warrior time. I wish he'd do that dance, that thing where he slaps and bounces and all that stuff.
I think he is the only mascot more intimidating than Mike the LSU Tiger. Out of the shotgun with 3 wides left, needing just 1 yard. They go for it all. And a diving catch for a touchdown. Clifton Herbert. They needed 1. They get 6 out of it.
Ramsey Robinson in coverage. How do you cover this? A 360 full body turn, a pivot out of one shoe, and then diving, hemming the football up before you're on the ground and into the end zone for the touchdown. The official right on the money, right on the spot.
Unbelievable.
And that is the 9th missed extra point for the year.
It's like there's a magnet on those goalposts. Herbert, meanwhile, a 20-yard touchdown, his first touchdown catch. Senior from Palmdale, California, 30-21 Hawaii. Let's check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Dave, in case you didn't hear the news earlier, Frank Solich is out as head coach at Nebraska. The Lincoln Journal-Star first reporting this. Now other media outlets picking up on it in the state of Nebraska. Solich was head coach for 6 years there, won 58 games, went 9-3 this year. Athletic director Steve Peterson decided he wanted to go in a different direction. Frank Solich's staff will coach the bowl game, wherever that may be. 9-3. I know he was on thin ice and wanted to go a different direction. What do you think of this move?
Well, first of all, I feel bad for Frank Solich. Frank Solich is a good man. He was a Warrior for the University of Nebraska, spent a lot of years there. But I think what Steve Peterson and his feeling was going into this decision was the direction of the program. His feeling being with the schedule they'll play at home, also the fact the Big 12 North, they'll always win 7 or 8 games. And the loss to Kansas State at home, getting blown out, I think was the final nail.
I think it's a huge mistake. I think the precedent that is set that if you go 7-7, have one bad year, you turn the program around and win 9 games the following year. I think it's a huge mistake for Nebraska to make this decision. Frank Solich deserves to be the head coach of Nebraska.
We'll talk much more about this on College Game Day Final tonight at SportsCenter, guys.
Meanwhile, Brandon Brooks, love a big return for the Crimson Tide, and he gets a 29-yarder. Watch again the juggling at the end of this dive by Herbert. And does the ball ever touch the turf? Well, let's put a microscope on it. Wow. I tell you, it looks as if he keeps the elbow under it from that angle. This may be a more telling angle. That shows he dropped it. That's the angle.
And of such small errors his head coaching made. When I said Mike Schuler's learning another valuable lesson, I was talking about being in a hostile stadium with a crew from another conference. Not insinuating anything is done intentionally, but the calls are going toward Hawaii now, and that tends to be the way it is. And the other thing is, if you're Alabama, you get the best shot from every team that you play, because they want some of Alabama.
Lance Taylor makes that catch for a first down. We will have post-game coverage. This is done if you want to switch over to ESPN News. 7 minutes to go. And this is going to be a 12-man violation in the Alabama huddle. Mike Shula has seen just a torrent of penalties. This will be their 10th of the game. Tim Castile laid into the huddle this time. So they'll back up inside the 35. Brody Croyle in the third quarter, sacked for a safety. Picked off by Abraham Elimimian. 12 of 24 for 164. That one batted down. Croyle dragging down inside the 8-yard line, Travis LeBoy. Isaac Sopawanga deflects it right into the hands of LeBoy.
It's a defensive line stunt designed to get a big guy in the face of the quarterback, and it certainly worked. Sopawanga in Brody Croyle's face, batted the ball up, and Travis LeBoy comes down with it. Didn't get a chance to see Sopawanga make his play. We see the last part here where Brody Croyle at least gets LeBoy on the ground, but now you're talking field position. The 8-yard line.
Well, now you're talking maybe putting it out of range, where the Alabama offense has had difficulties even getting first downs in the second half. Whieldon, one play, and goes for the end zone shot to Cochran, and he can't make the catch. Whieldon going right after him.
Love those grandkids. All right, there it is, tipped up in the air. Sopawanga remembers his volleyball days. Patrick LeBoy's trying to get it in the end zone, but the thing that impresses me about LeBoy is that he secured the football. So many times you see a defensive lineman come down with a ball, and he's so unaccustomed to having it in his hands that he drops it. He had that thing secured as if he were a running back.
Whieldon in the scramble, now pulls up, fires to the goal line, and Clifton Herbert at the 1.
Coming into this game, Hawaii 61% touchdowns on their red zone excursions this year. 85% of the time they've scored points.
Well, if they have to settle for 3 here, that'd be nice. 7 may come pretty close to being insurmountable for Alabama.
Well,
this Alabama offense has not had anything going in the second half.
3 would be significant because it would force Alabama to have to score 2 touchdowns to win. 4 TDs for Whieldon.
From the 1. 3rd and goal. Back of the end zone. And Derek Pope decides to stay in the end zone. So Whieldon with the mistake, and Hawaii won't even get the field goal out of it. Derek Pope has had a terrific close to his season. He's been their best defender the last couple of games, and maybe comes up with the play that keeps Alabama in this game.
And this is why, as an amazing blunder, amazing mistake. There's nothing but white shirts there. I don't know what Whieldon could have been thinking. This is why people criticize the run and shoot when you're talking about goal line offense. Instead of just packing it in, run a quarterback draw here, spread the field. What you got is a 4 across zone. Actually, it's about 6 across with the dropping linebackers. And I don't know what Whieldon was looking at. He just threw it to the white shirt.
Crimson Tide still alive in a 9-point game. Shotgun draw, Ray Hudson. And just about a 2 or 3 yard pickup. The
Alabama.
biggest difference, Bill, between the run and shoot as run by June Jones and the spread as run by first Rich Rodriguez, now at West Virginia, picked up by so many other teams around the country, Northwestern, Oklahoma, Texas. Coyle has to bring it down. The spread as run by those other teams, in some cases, they are better running teams than they are passing teams
they are.
now. But that's not been the case here.
And that's Rich Rodriguez's idea that he introduced, and you and I got to hear him tell how that evolved. But that's not what Hawaii does, and it gives Alabama a chance. But Alabama still needs 2 scores. They've got to have a touchdown, the field goal, obviously.
Well protected, deep middle overthrown, intended for Zach Fletcher. So the Hawaii defense
they need to
standing its ground.
Punt the ball here.
Offense turns it over. Defense will turn it right back over to the Hawaii offense, although Mike Shula has not sent Bo Freeland into the game.
With their lack of success on 3rd down today, the thing to do here would have been to punt the football.
There is plenty of time for them to get it back. But they risk it at 4th and 8 on their own 22. Hill sacked. Never even got it off. Lance Samoseva makes the gamble blow up in Shula's face. 4.5 minutes to go. Still with all 3 of your timeouts, and Shula decides that the dice are going to be thrown right then and there, and Hawaii takes over at the 18-yard line.
And what you tell your quarterback in a situation like that, whatever you do, don't take the sack. Throw the football. Give us a chance to make a catch, take it away from somebody, or get a pass interference. You can't take the sack. And Brody Coyle is not a young quarterback anymore, and as terrific as he has been, that was a very serious mistake.
Questionable decision at best. Brewster for no gain. Don't forget Sunday Night Football matchup. Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, Sunday night, 8:30 on ESPN. Nationwide on ESPN HD. NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite, starts everything off at 7:30 Eastern. And the defending world champions still trying to rekindle their season as they take on Jacksonville. Alabama with his first time out now with 4:09 to go. And a 2nd and 10 coming for Whieldon. Hawaii also with their final 2 timeouts. Jimmy Chang started. He also started the second half. Just never looked like himself at all. He was victimized by a couple of drops here in the second half. But there has been a charge of electricity go through the Hawaii offense anytime Whieldon has been on the field. At the play where Cochran ruled to have been knocked out of bounds by Charlie Peppra and then came back in, so it was a legal catch and a touchdown.
But the other touchdown catch was not a touchdown. It bounced off the ground.
The Clifton Herbert catch.
Yes.
Where the official did not have the angle to see what we were able to see.
He was blocked. That's a tough call, but that's it's such a huge thing. And your little brother Michael Barnett, our faithful spotter here, knew it before we did. When we thought it was a touch, he was already indicating bobble, no kick.
Nothing new there. Second down and 10. Whieldon keeping. Quick call here. Whieldon. Touchdown. Yards. First touchdown run for the senior from Orange, California, who has sat behind Timmy Chang, one of the nation's top quarterbacks, all year, mopping up until the last 2 weeks, and he has sprung seemingly from nowhere to take a Hawaii team that looked like they were headed nowhere today and brought them from 14 points down to 16 points ahead.
He got so excited he came off the field and forgot to go out and hold for the extra point. But they finally knocked an extra point through, and he might as well just run for mayor now.
Hawaii fans, only sorry he is a senior, but what a way to wrap up a career.
Later on SportsCenter, the role the SEC will play in deciding the BCS championship game, what the Yankees will do to trump the Red Sox, and the Patriots' secret weapon to stop Peyton Manning. SportsCenter after the game.
Give thanks for Sunday NFL Countdown. We've got Mr. Clutch, Tom Brady, and the league's most feared tackler.
I care about getting to the football every single play.
Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Thanksgiving dinner. That calls for a beer that tastes great. Thanksgiving dinner with all the trimmings. That calls for a beer with half the carbs of Bud Light. Great taste, less filling. Miller Lite, good call.
Now Mentos has 70% more, and they come in a box. Go Box!
They set up in the eye on this, the last play of the game. And here's the snap. Hand off to the tailback. Peterson tries the right side. Wow, what a hit. But he stays on his feet, and he's broken to the outside. And it's wild. Give him a touchdown.
ESPN's College Football Saturday, brought to you by Pioneer Plasma Displays, taking high-definition television to a whole new level. And by KFC Popcorn Chicken. Want 100% chicken breast in fun-sized bites? You got a KFC what's cooking.
You can become a folk hero in just 2 games. Jason Whieldon may be experiencing just that. Junior college at Saddleback Community College. Back up to Chang last year, back up this year. 16 of 17 last week against Army. 4 touchdown passes and his first career touchdown run here tonight. Hawaii came in a 3-way tie with 2 losses. Everybody chasing Boise State in the WAC. Next week, Boise State right here. We will have the telecast at 11:30 Eastern Time, Saturday night, 6:30 Hawaiian time. What a shootout that ought to be. Boise State, after destroying Nevada today, will come in here 11-1, and Hawaii 8-4. At a shot at a 10-win season if they can handle that, and then the Sheraton Hawaii Bowl right here at Aloha Stadium on Christmas.
You look at June's face, you'd think he was behind. Doesn't look very happy, does he? Because he knows this thing's not over.
Miami needing 2 touchdowns, 2 two-point conversions. Ray Hudson blown up by Kernan. And if all June Jones does is continue to recruit Kernan's at Chang's High School, the St. Louis school here in Honolulu. He'll do just fine. There are 12 members of that high school program on this team.
And that was the 11th tackle for a tackle Kernan.
That's one-handed grab by Hudson. So they got 3rd down and 8. Another tackle by Kernan. A high school All-America, USA Today, Hawaii Defensive Player of the Year. It's really amazing that one school, not that big a school, private school, can produce that many Division I football players, but they do it year after year.
I'll tell you,
Fletcher, and that should be a 1st down.
Very impressed with the front 4, the defensive line work of Hawaii. They got speed, they got bulk, they know how to run their stunts well, they're getting pressure. Even when the quarterback has enough time to throw the football, he's always feeling like he's going to get pressure because they've been in his face so much today. They're really giving this offensive line fits.
Out where he's dangerous, and he'll get a 1st down, a gain of 12 yards to the 43. Kernan with another tackle. Throw, true freshman. Boyle, just a sophomore. Hudson, a junior. Plenty of talent coming back for Alabama, but
he runs
they've got to reverse this trend now. This trend has produced what will be just the 4th losing season for Alabama since Bear Bryant arrived back in 1958. But 3 of those 4 have come in the last 6 years. So what was unheard of until 6 years ago has become commonplace, and that's what Mike Shula's got to somehow get reversed.
Well, Mike's having to deal with a situation that is not of his own making, that got out of hand with the rotation of coach after coach. You can blame whoever you want to blame, but if they'll stick with Mike Shula, he'll get the job done. He loves Alabama. He understands the job. He knows what the expectations are. It's not going to be easy.
Hudson cuts back across midfield, and it'll be 3rd and 2. Just not that long ago, 11 years ago, Gene Stallings was coach of a national champion. Celebrating that win over Miami, followed after his retirement by Mike Dubose. Scandal-ridden 4 years. Dennis Franchione appeared to be the man for the job for the long haul. Going back to double-digit wins last year. Seemingly everything was just right where they wanted it, where Franchione wanted it. Turned out he wanted to return back to Texas. The A&M job opened up. Mike Price was hired. And 4 scandal-ridden months later, he was gone and Mike Shula was brought in. Really with no time to have much of a real effect on this season. The sneak on 4th and a couple of feet.
It's going to be close, Dave. And that's the problem with running a sneak on 4th and a couple of feet, because you don't know if the mark is going to be accurate. It's going to be very, very close. And they're going to measure.
I think they got it.
And this is where head coaches earn their pay. I asked Mike again, what have you learned? He learned the biggest problem is time. There's a law that governs the expansion of gases. It says, there it is, it is a 1st down. So a big sigh of relief and at least a chance to continue, but you release any gas, any quantity of gas into any space, and it will immediately expand to fill the entire space. That's what happens to a head coach's time. The job immediately expands to take up all your time, no matter how much you got. It's only 24 hours a day that you have, and it fills all of it up.
Georgia Tech physics lesson there. Boyle nowhere to go. Swarm back at the 46-yard line. And Kevin Jackson, senior defensive end from Moreno Valley, California, gets the sack. Down to a minute and a half. Sports Center following. If you'd like a further look at this game, switch over to ESPN News. We'll have a wrap-up moments after the final gun.
6 sacks for Hawaii now. Most of it provided by the front 4. They haven't done much blitzing. They haven't brought any secondary pressure stunts that I can remember, bringing safeties and corners and the like. A lot of celebrating going on in this stadium already.
You just heard the fan leaning over to Whieldon saying, "You're starting next week." Well, Russell Athletic Player of the Game today. We'll see about next week. But with 4 touchdown passes and 1 rushing touchdown, 237 yards, 15 for 25 off the bench, completely changed the complexion of this game. 14-0 behind when he came in. Now hit by 16. Near interception. Houston Allah coming with pressure.
Remember this about Alabama. Football is important. They'll get back. They'll hustle and recruit. They'll get in the off-season program as soon as possible. And the education of young Mike Shula will continue. They'll have a whole off-season. They'll actually get to implement all their systems in a spring practice, and the situation will be different a year from now.
How much is the turmoil experienced right now by Auburn likely to help Alabama? Really embarrassing situation where the president turns out to be going behind Tommy Tuberville's back, flying up to interview Bobby Petrino at Louisville. Everyone comes across looking the worse for that, and that's the kind of thing that Alabama fans will talk about all off-season.
There are a few young people in the state of Alabama that get torn between Alabama and Auburn. Most of them already got their mind made up. They know which team because they've come from an Alabama or an Auburn family. But the guys that hang on the fence sometimes are great players. And that could very well work to Alabama's advantage. Alabama's coming off probation now. They're through with their nightmare of the mistakes that were made in their program a few years ago. Auburn gets in this kind of problem, and the question in the players' minds is, well, are they going to off Coach Tuberville anytime they want to in the middle of the season, or go around behind his back and am I going to go play for the same guy, or is he going to be gone? So that could help Alabama enormously.
What they've also got to deal with is this emerging of LSU under Nick Saban. Looks like a power for years to come. They've been passed by Houston Nutt's program at Arkansas for the moment. I mean, they've always got Auburn to deal with, but the rest of the SEC West is going to be formidable year in, year out for Mike Shula.
Yep, it'll become like the East, but the thing you know about the Alabamas, the Oklahomas, and the Notre Dames of this world is that they will be back because football is so important, and good players will go there and they will excel.
Flag down. Last gasp time. And Williams comes down with enough for the first down if the flag is against Hawaii. A 16-yard gain, but the flag way back at the line of scrimmage.
Let's talk about Hawaii. They're the ones that are winning this game. We're talking about the other program. June Jones has come here and done what was considered by many to be impossible. They went from 0-12 to 9-3 in 1 year. The greatest turnaround in the history of NCAA football.
They were actually talking about dropping down a level, no longer being a Division 1A program.
That's what the rumors were. And June comes in here with high expectations. He knows how to recruit to this program. The skilled people are going to come because of his offense, and he's got it working.
Does he ever? Boyle hits Fletcher, breaks a tackle, and reaches the 5-yard line with 44 seconds to go. 31 yards. Fletcher, an outgoing senior from Moulton.
When I said there was
they are not done here. They can get the 6 and the 2-point conversion and recover an onside kick. Make a very interesting final 40 seconds. They have one timeout left. Boyle looking end zone. Has to throw it away over Fletcher.
You see guys like Zach Fletcher going in there, and when I said there's a lot of skill on the field, that's what I meant. He makes a play like that. If he gets that thing in the end zone, then there's an onside kick and they get the ball. Alabama gets back in a game like this. That's what happens when you expect to win.
Hawaii players did not care. This was a 4-8 Alabama team. All they cared about was this is a chance to beat one of the winningest programs in college football history.
On ESPN, they were happy we were going to be here and said so.
Boyle, pump fake back to the end zone. Touchdown, Lance Taylor. Lono Manners trying to keep up with Taylor, another senior, in his finale from Mount Vernon, Alabama. And now the try for 2.
And this is when the place gets very quiet. The fans that are still here are thinking, this is Alabama. We have seen them come back so many times. As unlikely as it is, you just never know. They get this two-pointer, get the onside kick, hit a Hail Mary, get another two-pointer, and we're in overtime. Now, I know that's the odds against that are huge, but it happens.
Royal, swing pass. Williams with a dive. Got it. Got inside the pylon, and they get the two-point conversion, and it's an 8-point game. This game is still there for Alabama with 29 seconds. They have one timeout remaining. So should they recover the onside kick? A timeout and plenty of time for at least 3 or 4 snaps. Good call.
Yeah, a little English there, a little body English. By the way, Mike. Immediately get the onside kick team up there, and if you got a little dipsy-doodle, a little surprise on this thing, maybe you employ it here. Act as if you're going to kick it to the left and kick it with the other foot, or just things that kickers and coaches work on for situations just like this. Last gasp hope for the season.
First time since 1957 that Alabama did not win back-to-back games. If they somehow are able to pull this thing out, if they can just get it to overtime, somehow pull off the miracle, what a completely different taste they'll have in their mouth all offseason. But some work to be done here. Kyle Robinson about to attempt the onside kick. Senior from Cleburne, Texas, their first left footer in 22 years. Hoping for the big hop. Getting into the hands of those leapers. There's the big bounce. Still loose. And Hawaii appears to come up with it, and they do. Warriors ball, David Gilmour on the bottom of that pile. As he limps off after cementing the win for the Warriors. Expert kick. With Robinson doing everything he could to give his hands guys a shot at it. Now Alabama with its last timeout. 25 seconds. One more snap, and Hawaii can look ahead to the dangerous Boise State team that comes in here next week. Seniors who wrap up their career tonight for Alabama. We're going to look back on one of the more difficult stretches in the history of that program. One of the winningest since they started pumping up the footballs, but when they reported for their first practice 4 or 5 years ago in Tuscaloosa, you know they did not have this end in mind. 4-9 will be 2003 epitaph. 2-6 in SEC play. 5 losses in the final 6 games in Mike Shula's first year. June Jones will go to 8-4. Chance at a 10-win season, which would mark his 2002. Jason Whieldon turned it around. Alabama led 14-0. Timmy Chang couldn't get it going. Jones got his backup in, the senior from Orange, California. Throws for 237 yards, 4 touchdown passes, and scores his first career rushing touchdown. And the Warriors win it 37-29. Sports Center is next, and again for post-game coverage, you can turn over to ESPN News. We'll have plenty more on this one from Aloha Stadium. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. To Bill Curry, Rob Stone, our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dave Barnett. Aloha from Honolulu. Here's Sports Center.